unmute. So we should now be auditory. Good. All right. And not sure who we all have in here. You're in, right? Alrighty. Sorry about the mix-up. If you guys saw the one that I had scheduled, YouTube, I think I've mentioned before, they have been pushing towards a newer setup. Mm-hmm. So I create the event, and that's all fine and dandy. But then now trying to actually utilize that event, I'd have to go back to the old one. And that constantly has warnings and stuff, because I think there's some laws are passed somewhere that you now have to say whether a video is for kids or
not. Yeah.
And so you just get all this nonsense on your screen telling you should be using the new one. You have to tell if it's for kids or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's but then you can't do the schedule thing. So I'm not going to do any schedule things until they get that resolved. So hopefully
soon.
Yeah, hopefully soon on that. Let me see. I can open another window and see if I can actually go in and delete that event just so nobody's maybe watching for that one. Okay, live now. Yeah, that's okay. So I don't see it in terms of the event one. So hopefully that went away and people are going to find. Yep. All right, cool. Yeah. So yay for YouTube. Gotta love that.
Yay.
So I'll use the new one. And then, schedule an event. That's cool. Oh, that doesn't work on the new one.
Yeah.
Stupid YouTube. All right. Yeah. So we're here and ready. Let's see. Showing a couple people in at this point.
Zach in Tampa.
Oh, awesome. I'm just setting my settings here to show. Yep. Live chat. All right. Awesome. How's it going, Zach? And there's you. All right, so let me get everything set up here. Sorry, guys. It's kind of a rough start versus normal. A bunch of changes have happened, not to mention adding it to being a live show on top of that. So I guess we can go ahead and hit the intro. So I'll say it again after the intro, but just for anyone in the room. Or let's see, are you still in?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The viewer number thing keeps changing around. So we're going to go ahead and hit the intro, and then we'll actually just do the introduction on the other side and kind of tell you how the episode's going to go when it comes to call-ins. So let's go ahead and listen to the intro real quick.
The Dark Tower by Stephen King. The man in black fled across the desert, and the gunslinger followed. Go then. There are other worlds than these. Death, but not for you, gunslinger. It's time we had our own Palaver, I think, and it's going to take a while.
And yet, dauntless, the slug horn to my lips I set, and blew. Child Roland to the Dark Tower came.
We are quartet, one from many. Let the Palaver begin.
Hello and welcome to Dark Tower Palaver. This is our podcast covering Stephen King's magnum opus, the Dark Tower series. My name is Tad.
And I'm Peter.
And Peter was just giving me the finger there, telling me to change the slide.
I gotta keep you on your toes, man.
Yeah, I would have forgot. I absolutely would have forgot without the reminder.
I do what I can. I do what I can.
I think this is the first time you've reminded me, though, so I do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So we're here for roundtable number 82.
A very special show.
Yeah, a special one. I was actually commenting to someone, I think it was via email, that we wanted to do these more often, and up until this point, I think the last time we did a live show was probably around 2 years ago. I want to say
even before we got on YouTube.
I want to say it was 2017. So yeah, that was a good while ago. So we definitely promise this will happen again before that long. We won't wait 2 years for the next one. And then I also asking the people in the chat, how do we sound? Because I got all new equipment. I threw it out on Twitter and
Yeah.
let everyone know that I built a computer. It ended up being a few months before we started the show. And every show up until this one has been recorded on that computer. And so now we're on a new computer. There's new software, new operating system. So
It's all shiny and new. It's awesome.
it's strange. So I'm just curious, hoping that it sounds okay for everyone out there on the live stream side.
3 years ago for our first live show.
3 years ago, really? So
It
it's
says.
2016?
That's what it says.
Interesting. Good.
August 31st, 2016, according to Podcast
2016.
Addicts.
Jeez. I sort of sworn it was 2017, but maybe just in all the madness of that year, it just felt like, yeah. So yeah, we definitely won't wait 3 years for the next
I don't know if
one.
it's I don't know if it was the call-in show, but it says it's the first live Palaver.
Yeah, I want to say that we did call-ins on that one because we were doing it live, which we had never really done at that point, and we were including calls as kind of part of that. Now we do live as a regular thing. So
Most of all, they take live calls to Palaver live with members of the extended content. So yeah, you're right. August 31st, 2016 for our first live show.
yeah, good Lord, that feels like it feels more like 2 years. So yeah, it's actually been 3/4 of the life of our show since
Yeah.
we've done one. So yeah, we'll definitely do them more regular because I like this. I love emails, but I mean, I guess it comes down to how many people call in and if it's something you guys are interested in. But I'm definitely interested in maybe seeing these maybe once or twice a year. I think would be a good thing, once a half of the year type thing. So basically what I want to do with this episode in terms of the live aspect is I actually have a couple small things to cover, and I wanted to kind of just get those out of the way and then open it up for calls. So it should be pretty quick in terms of to get through. It's nothing massive. So we'll go ahead and do the introductions first. First of all, we want to warn you about spoilers. We'll definitely spoil everything of the 7 primary books of the Dark Tower series. It's just inevitable. So if you haven't finished those books, you may want to hold off on this podcast and listen to our book clubs. And on those, we basically stay where we're at. So when we start back up again in January at the book club, I believe we're about 80% of the way through book 2. So unless you're further behind than that, and if you're further behind than that, you may want to wait until you're caught up at least at that point before you listen to any of our stuff. But listen to our book clubs if you haven't finished it yet, or if you do listen on, just know that you'll probably have some things spoiled for you. Next up, you can find us in a number of places. First up, Apple Podcasts. You can also stream us on Stitcher, and you can find us on pretty much any podcast service. Peter mentioned Podcast Addicts is what he uses, as do I. It's a good podcatcher. Next up, if you want to help the show, you can do that a number of ways. You can subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. That is the most beneficial way to the show. And those kind of things definitely help our listenership and people find the show, which we're always looking to grow the content. It's always a fun thing. And then we also have the show notes at darktowerpalaver.com. On there, for instance, on the last episode, we talked about Dr. Sleep. So not only did I have our normal show notes for that episode with all that kind of stuff, but I also put up the questions that you and I went through so that in the future, if anyone wants to send an email about Dr. Sleep, they can go through those questions and answer the same ones that we did. So things like that is what you'll find on the show notes or at our website, as well as a lot of times you'll also see posts for the episode. So if you wanted a last ditch effort way of listening to the show, go to darktowerpalaver.com and you'll be able to stream it straight from the web browser there. And then also, if you are new to the show, you are now part of our extended content, and we welcome you. And as such, I mean, this is a big episode for that is contacting us. There's a number of ways for you to do that and be part of the Palaver, and Peter can tell you about those.
Best way to reach us is email. It's darktowerpalaver@gmail.com. We also have our Facebook and Twitter pages. It's facebook.com/darktowerpalaver, and then @darktowerpod for our Twitter. And then you can stream our shows live. It's youtube.com/darktowerpalaver. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, get notifications. Like today, you'd be able to notify that we were going live and everything. Usually shows are the same. Sometimes there's a little bit of a variance with schedules and everything like that. So do that. You can check out our some of our old roundtables. Not all of them. We didn't start YouTube until a little bit later on, a couple years in. But we don't post the book clubs on there due to copyright issues with the sound clips. But you can always check out our Palavers on there. Again, that's youtube.com/darktowerpalaver.
Yeah, indeed. And then I guess I can throw this up for the last bit of the year here. This is the call-in show today, December 7th. And I have the Dark Tower Palaver is the Skype name if you're going to call in a few minutes when we open that up. That'll be the way to do it. And then the 21st, so mere days before Christmas, we will have our last show of the year of Psy King, the year of the turtle, 2019. And then from there, we'll basically let you know when the next episode after that will be in January, when we'll start back up. We just got to figure out how our bi-weekly thing will line up for holidays and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be our last episode, December 21st, and then we'll be back sometime in January of 2020, which is crazy to think about that it's already coming up on 2020. So join us for that episode as well. I can't remember how much we've said about that episode, but
a little bit.
Have we? I can't remember what we. Okay, so we're going to go through the Stephen King checklist.
Yeah, because there was the severe doubt that I have in my mind that I've read more than you.
Yeah. Oh, and I can't remember if I've shared that yet. If not, I will definitely get that shared out so that everyone can do their version of that checklist before we do that next episode on the 21st.
So,
or actually, I have that wrong. This is Roundtable 82. So I don't know why I was in my mind when I typed.
Is it a roundtable?
I mean, I think so. Call-in show. Why wouldn't it be a roundtable?
It's discussion.
Yeah,
that's what the whole point of the roundtable thing is that it's discussion.
For some reason, I was segregating it in my mind when I did this slide. So yes, that'll be at 83 on the 21st.
Segregation was outlawed, Tad.
Well, segregate the shows in terms of you got roundtables, you got book clubs, you got Unfound Doors. In my mind, that should be the three things. That's why it actually confuses me why I would have blocked off this show as not a roundtable. So that'll be roundtable 83. This is 82. So
we're going to end the year on 83.
Yep. Yes, indeed.
So on our show intro, when we hit the new year, we're going to be like, I'm Tad, and this is 2020.
No.
Oh, okay.
That's a dated reference. How who's old enough to remember such things as broadcast television
me
news?
and you.
All right. So
a few of our listeners who were there when they were waiting for books, watching 2020.
Yeah.
Waiting for book 4 to come out. They watched 2020.
Yeah. Indeed. So we'll go ahead and jump into the couple things I have before we open the phone lines real quick. And the first one is some Dark Tower news bits, as we have been having. Not a lot, anything new really. It's just the same old kind of story. It seems like it's Instagram. So once again, we have some Instagram stuff, but this is actually from somewhat of a person that we've never heard of before. At least I haven't. And his name is Tom Sandro, and I will post the under portion of it, like what he typed, I guess. And he says, fun never ends when you're surrounded with people who make you laugh. Hashtag shooting, and then hashtag on set. He has a bunch of hashtags. The few of the ones I grabbed were behind the scenes, funny people, happy people's TV series, TDT for Dark Tower, The Dark Tower spelled out, Stephen King, pilot series. There's a number of other ones in there, but those are the ones I thought were the most interesting. So
Croatia.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. It seems to me, looking into it, looks like he's probably a local actor in Croatia. Just by the way that some of his stuff reads. So that would be my guess, is he was, I don't know whether he's an extra or what, but he looks like he worked on the show, so we'll go ahead and go through. He actually had 10 pictures that he posted on his Instagram, so let's go ahead and look through them real quick. This one is interesting, and Peter, you're pointing there.
Is that Michael Rourke?
Michael Roker, yes.
Roker, sorry.
Yes, back left.
Yeah,
Michael
black beanie.
Yeah, so, that's pretty cool. Kind of maybe see facial hair, what he might have for the show. So that's cool. I'm not entirely sure of everyone else here. But yeah, that's one picture. Number 2 is looks like some people in costume here, which is pretty cool. Again, just to see costumes. We've seen some up to this point, but it is still cool to see. And then next up is more folks in costumes. One that jumped out at me is the lady on the right there. Because of the Emir Muller's hat was kind of not a top hat like that, but it kind of gives me the idea. Yeah, it kind of gives me the idea that there's definitely going to be some different styles of hats. It's not just going to be like classic cowboy hat, but you're going to have a varying different style and manner of hats when it comes to the series, or at least the pilot, which is all we know so far.
Speaking of the one on the far right, does she have a hook for a hand?
I don't know what that is.
Where's the hand?
Or a glove.
Like,
Is it a glove with something on it? I don't know. That is some deception there, some deceivery of the eyes.
I don't know. Like, that is trippy.
Alan says that's a long cuff. That is really long though. I mean, it could be though. I mean, doesn't people maybe it's not fitted to the people as much when it comes to we're assuming magus, right?
Yeah.
Next up, got some other people here, some backlighting here.
Okay, so the guy on the right is the one that's been in every picture, right? Go back one picture real fast for me. No, it's the guy on the left.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay, so the guy on the right's been in 2 pictures, and now this guy's been in 2 pictures. He was the one next to Michael.
Okay, yeah. And then this, I don't know. They got someone who's in the middle there. Interesting, but yeah. So there's that one. Now, this is a fun one.
Oh, the kissing moon.
It's a sign, certainly an in-world sign, saying Hambry's Feast of the Kissing Moon. So
Interesting to see like Oriental writing on it.
Oh yeah, on the left.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I always pictured like Hambry as kind of like, like Mexico Americana kind of.
Yeah, because
that's cowboy horse wranglers kind of thing.
Yeah, and they have serapes
and sombreros and stuff like that. So
yeah, it is interesting. But yeah, I think that's pretty fun. Next up, look probably Tom again in front of just I don't know, not a lot you could pick out there.
Just backstage, like off camera set shoot.
Yeah, although the thing on his behind him on his left could very well be in world as well. That seems like it has a striking similarity to that. Not necessarily it's the same thing, but stylistically, could very well be. And then we get some exhaustion of the
taking a nap.
Yeah, of the long days of shooting. And then another group of people here in costume. Again, he mentioned everyone having fun and laughing. And then the last one.
Ooh.
Some good ones here with some costume things. Yeah, so that's what we have.
Looks good.
Tom, yeah. More behind the scenes looks. I would definitely hope that, or I would guess that these are, not hope, I would guess that these are things that are from July, June, when it was, or July, I can't remember when it was now. June, I think, actually, when they shot the pilot. I'm sure this is from then.
Didn't they wrap in June is what we said? They were shooting in May. Yeah,
that's right. It was May and then wrapped in June the first week. I knew it carried over somewhat, but yeah. So I'm guessing it's back then that this was all shot. I'm not necessarily taking this to mean that they're doing more shooting. It just seems like something that maybe they were even told to wait a certain period to really post anything.
I gotta give props to Alan for pointing out the guy in the back.
Yeah, the photo bomber.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. I did notice that just because, like, when I first saw them, I was, like, studying everything to figure out, like, who's who. Is there anyone that jumps out at me as, like, ones that are familiar that we know from the cast? Or, not that I doubt that it's Dark Tower, because it certainly is, but it's just one of those, like, maybe we'll find, I don't know, like,
gem.
someone, like, whether it's whoever. But definitely interesting because a lot of what we've seen so far does seem Hambry related. I mean, I will say that would bring into question that whole castle-y thing that they had with the horses. We guess that could be either way, but makes me wonder what Gilead stuff we might or might not see.
For sure.
So, yes, that is what we got for that one. And then, okay, anything in the chat that I missed? Mark is in now. Awesome. So we got one more story to cover, and then we'll get the old phone lines ready to go. Or Skype, digitized things, not phone lines. It's always funny to me the things that we just keep, like phrasing wise, like don't touch that dial. What in God's, dude? We were too young to have ever seen a TV with a dial. I mean, maybe we had an ancient TV, but like in general, dials were long gone by the time you and I were growing up. It was buttons. So it's just like these weird things that we say that don't really actually mean
Yeah.
anything anymore. Like the save icon. Nobody knows what that is anymore.
Some of us do.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly remember as I build this new computer, reminded of like transferring from my original computer to my second computer and getting all the floppy disks full of stuff, moving it from one computer to another. It was quite the nightmare. So let's go ahead and jump into the second thing, and this is a little bit more King related versus Dark Tower related. And this is Thomas Jane and Courtney Lauren Penn launch Renegade Entertainment, team with Stephen King for thriller From Buick 8. And this is by Andreas Wiseman from Deadline on December 4th, 2019. So that's interesting. So first impressions just from the headline, Thomas Jane.
Yeah.
He is a familiar face to the King universe.
The Mist.
Yeah, The Mist. Very, very underrated film, in my opinion. Maybe not necessarily in the King realm, because I think in the King realm, I think a lot of people give it the credit, maybe, or that it deserves. But I think in general, and when it comes to movies, not enough people give it credit. I think it's a brilliant movie. So we'll look at this here. It says exclusive actor Thomas Jane, and then it says The Predator in parentheses there. I didn't realize he was in that.
The newest one?
I think that is the newest one, yeah. Because it's like Predator is the first one, Predator 2 is the second one, Predators, I think, is the third one, and then The Predator is like, that's kind of rivaling Alien and Halloween for confusing the fuck out of people with their naming.
Aliens.
Alien 1, Alien Resurrection, and then then Prometheus, then Alien Covenant. Like, it just...
It's all kinds of messed up.
Yeah, it's like, okay, which one's the first one, for God's sake? Then Halloween.
At least Terminator was good. Terminator 2, Terminator 3, Terminator 4.
Then we hit that,
Terminator Salvation.
Then we hit this decade that we're just about at the close of, and people decided that they didn't want numbers and titles anymore, and they just started doing titles instead of numbers. And producer Courtney Lauren Penn, Altitude, are teaming up to form an LA-based content company, Renegade Entertainment, with the Stephen King novel adaptation From a Buick 8, their first movie project on the docket. Renegade, which will develop and produce film, TV, games, and immersive content, is partnering with King to adapt and produce his 2002 thriller novel about a car, which is a door to another dimension. That doesn't sound like Stephen King.
No.
It reminds me, have you ever seen The Simpsons that Stephen King guest starred on?
No. Which season? I'll go watch it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, no kidding. Are we...
I'm spinning.
So say it's spinning on my side, but it's showing all the connections fine everywhere else. So hopefully everything's live still. Whenever it spins, it makes me nervous. But yeah, no, on the Simpsons, I don't even remember what season it was, but they go to like a garage sale, and they're like wandering around. Okay, there we go. Now we're not spinning anymore. They're wandering around, and Marge wanders over and finds Stephen King at a table with books. And I can't remember, because this is a little bit later than in my wheelhouse. I've seen it only a couple times. And she's like, "Oh, Stephen King." And he's like, "Oh, you're writing a new book?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, "It's about," and it's just like something that's really just not Stephen King. I'm sorry. He starts that way. He starts explaining the story. Oh, it's just this wonderful story about this father and this daughter. And then like he slowly starts to drift, and it gets like more and more sinister. And then like clouds converge behind him, and like gets all dark and sinister. And then Marge is all, "Oh, well, let me know when you start writing horror again," and walks away.
Ellen says he lost the feed.
Okay.
It's still spinning on my side too.
Is it? Interesting. Let me here see if that will get it going here. How's yours looking? Did it do anything here to change?
Still spinning.
Maybe reset, because on my side everything's showing fine. Or just refresh your page, maybe.
Yeah, now it looks good.
Okay, so yeah, just refresh. Maybe throw that in the chat so everyone knows. Because we're showing green across the board now on both the app that streams us and on YouTube. So From a Buick 8 centers around a rural town, Statler, Pennsylvania, where state police have kept a mysterious 1954 Buick Roadmaster in the shed behind the barracks for over 20 years. When the town is plagued by strange and supernatural events, it turns out that the Buick isn't what it seems to be. That sounds about right. Have you read this one?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then here's a quote here. It says, "From a Buick 8 is a thrilling and deeply personal project for us," said Jane and Penn, as we explore a uniquely structured mystery spanning the 70s, 80s, 90s, and post 9/11 era, centered around a son's search for truth behind his father's sudden death. Along with first love and grief, terrifying and philosophic mysteries are spawned by inexplicable events connected to the titular car. We are honored that Stephen is supportive of our vision of his brilliant, provocative novel. So that's pretty cool. And then it says it became the latest title on King's in-demand backlist that's been reignited. It was once developed as a vehicle for Night of the Living Dead George Romero, and was previously in the work at Hyde Park Entertainment with writer William Brent Bell. So that's interesting. I actually had forgotten that at one point George Romero was had the rights to this. I think we had an article that mentioned that.
Yeah.
Renegade is a story and a character-first company. The duo said about the company, "We believe those who believe in pushing boundaries. Imagination is the voice of daring. We are thrilled to partner with visionary creators who dare to imagine for now and for the future as we champion innovative ways to share stories with audiences. At Renegade, we believe in the story as in life. True character is revealed in a storm." And that sounds like a perfect motto for a company doing a Stephen King adaptation.
Yeah, right?
So that's kind of the news that we got there. At this point, we can go ahead and I guess we could just open it up. Let me go ahead. Or actually, let me look at
I was going to say, do you have didn't you have a couple things to go? Oh.
Well, that's the couple things we went over. The only last thing I have here is the films in development, our board that we have. You know what's funny is I went to add it on here and I realized it's already on there. So it's been in development. We just didn't have anyone attached or announced to be attached. But we do now. So nothing changed on this. Still the same as it has been. But yeah, here is what our board is looking like as we get ready to close out the year. Hopefully we maybe get a couple things locked down before next episode. That'd be awesome.
We gonna take off the ones that have aired now?
Yeah, I probably should. Actually, I was so focused on adding From a Buick 8 at the bottom and then realizing I didn't need to, that I didn't think to remove the things that weren't there. So yes, In the Tall Grass, Dr. Sleep have got to go away, which means that we're going to lose, same with Castle Rock and Mr. Mercedes. So we're going to lose everything with the date except for The Outsider. Which
looks so good.
Yeah, did you see the new trailer?
No, there's a new one?
It came out yesterday.
Ooh, I gotta
or the
watch
day
it.
before. I can't remember. I was going to post on social media, but I ended up kind of forgetting. But it looks really good.
Yeah.
Very good. That is it for the kind of what I had in advance. So at this point, I guess when it comes to the call-ins, what we're thinking is if people don't call in, we have some emails we can kind of go through. But for people that are calling in, obviously Dark Tower is always first and foremost on our minds. Stephen King is a tangential expansion of that. Yeah. But also, I think just getting a little wild for the holidays. Honestly, if you want to throw out some other stuff, I don't know.
Go.
Because we kind of want this to be an episode kind of for and about you guys, the listeners. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's, whether that's questions for Peter and I, on outside topics. But let's just say the tangent web is open for you guys as callers. Talk about whatever. But, of course, we always prefer, Dark Tower being at least a good central portion.
Or at least Stephen King.
Yeah, or Stephen King. But, I'm just not wanting anyone to throw their questions that they may have had for Dark Tower out the window because it's oh cool, we can talk about something else. No, we want to talk about
anything and everything. Mostly Stephen King is where we're at with Dark Tower Palaver. But if this one time, if you guys want to ask something about another series, or if we've watched something and just haven't ever mentioned it, go ahead.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was thinking. Is just kind of a listener appreciation episode, and kind of thing, and do whatever we want to talk about.
Right,
so,
and it doesn't have to be in Skype. I mean, if you want to throw something out in the chat for us to answer, go ahead.
Yeah, Indeed. So the Skype should be opened. I believe, everything's looking good there. So I will change the slide over here where we got the information. Got a good little picture for it there too. The hero of the story there in the background. And
Roland?
no, the one that brings people back from the dead in that book, not the people that kills them in that book.
Roland?
He doesn't bring anyone back from the dead.
Jake?
I think that's nebulous to say that Roland had anything to do with
also, who's the one that killed Jake in the first place?
Both.
No, first place. The man in black pushed him in front of the taxi. Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
That's the only way he got to the way station and put him in front of the man in front of the gunslinger. Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad guy, Flag. Good guy, Roland.
That's debatable. It's the never-ending debate when it comes to the Flag versus Roland debate. Okay, so
Alan says in the chat, seriously wanting to see Per Callahan Lost America's TV series after watching Doctor Sleep. Some of those scenes hit me that way.
Yeah, I actually had the same thought. There was definitely some vibe I got that kind of reminded me of Callahan a bit while watching that movie. And I think that would actually be a really cool limited series. Maybe even like a spinoff after the Salem's Lot adaptation that's upcoming. Be interesting to see, just take maybe even that same actor and then have him go through all of that. And then, of course, the ultimate dream would be, at some point that actor could then play him on Dark Tower.
Wolves of the Kala.
I mean, if they get an older guy, I don't know if he'll still be alive at that point. I mean,
just age him up.
Oh, okay. So, like I said, the phone lines are opened. Once we get a call, I'll feel better that everything's working all right. But let me throw an email real quick, and I actually have the thing on the email thing as screen as well, so I can jump back to the other one here in a second. But Joel from Gold Coast, he actually joined us a few episodes back on an email, and he was in the middle of book 5, I think, or 4. He was going through and he's the one I emailed and said, "Hey, don't listen to our episodes. Like, wait until you're finished." And he emails and he says, just to let you know, trepidation is all I have. I just finished Songs of Susanna and I'm terrified to start the Dark Tower, but I will. It is in my hands. See you on the other side. So just a check-in from him there as he was moving on towards the final book.
Along the path of the beam.
Did you have any apprehension in terms of or were you just going at it in terms of going?
Dude,
first,
I just couldn't stop. Is what it was.
I
didn't have time to stop and think because my break, my stoppage came between books 4 and 5. So coming back and reading 5, 6, 7, just boom, boom, boom. Yeah, no pause to think. I was on the go from there.
Yeah. Okay. Did you find yourself slowing down at all?
No,
reading?
I don't do that as much as you do. You've talked about that before where you're like, yeah, I get towards the end of a book and it's like, oh man, I don't want to finish it. It's like, give me the fucking ending now.
I mean, until you prematurely stop reading, that is.
That was just like pure accident. That wasn't that I chose it.
Yeah.
That was just my own stupidity is what that was. Epilogue, that's too fancy a word. I can't go past here.
Oh man, that's great. Okay, so let me see what we got here. Next up is James on the email side here. It says, "Hi there, Tad and Peter." Hi. So my name is James, and I was on Twitter this morning and followed your Dark Tower pod post and started following you. I went to the website and started listening to your podcast regarding the series, which is awesome. That's kind of interesting way to find us. But no, we'll definitely take it. He says, I'm grateful for I am starting to get a group together to start a book club on the series. He says in parentheses, I will definitely mention to them this podcast on the series, which that's awesome. And that's a cool thing to do as a book club with a group of people.
It's a really good idea. We should do that sometime.
Yeah, I mean, I've tried. I got you to read it. I think you've had a couple people you've tried, but
making a joke about our book club episodes. that we already do that
Hang
with
your
each
head
other.
in shame. Hang your head in shame.
I am a dad. I can make dad jokes.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That's pretty terrible. It says, I wanted to thank you for starting this up for those of us who follow the series, and definitely thank you for your kind words.
Yeah.
He says, I began reading Stephen King in junior high. The first book was The Talisman or The Shining, but I love them both. The Talisman and The Stand are my two favorite King books, which is, that's, I mean, The Stand is usually on people's
there,
lists. The Talisman one, that doesn't show up as often, so that's a good one to be mentioned for sure. You've read that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely not one that I hear a lot, but that's awesome. I love when people have different favorites than normal.
When you get done with this email, we have a good question in the chat, just so you don't go to the next one.
Okay. My favorite in the Dark Tower series is book 4, which was the hardest for me to get through the first time around. So
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, just like me. And I put it down for probably a year or two. But when book 7 came out, I had to go back and finish book 4 in order to continue, or in order to finish the series. The second time, I could not put the book down. My favorite character is Eddie Dean, hands down.
Yeah.
He is the one who makes the most growth in the series, even with his foolishness sometimes. But that's what's helped him. That's what helps him stay so real and true as a character. And he says, "Thanks again for putting out these podcasts. It will take me a month or two to catch up with work and all, but I look forward to hearing from both of your views on the books." So thank you, James. Definitely appreciate the email, and always love to find the roads that lead people to the podcast, and that's definitely a good one. And I always have fun on Twitter, so it's good that people are discovering the show through that. So that's awesome. Thank you, James.
Yeah, for sure.
So you said you got something in the chat.
Yeah, we got a good question from Ryan, who says, "Hey guys, do you think Bill Hodges will be canon in the Outsider TV show, or will Holly have a different backstory?"
You know, I actually was thinking that myself when it comes to watching the trailer. Even though I think it was the first trailer, I was thinking that. It's like, well, the Hodges thing is going on in a different, different people behind it and stuff. So that is,
and we have a different actress playing Holly, right?
Yeah.
That's actually what I was just looking up. Is like, who do we have playing Holly in this one? Because we know all of the characters now. I mean, we have a trailer and everything. So.
Yeah. It's definitely different between the two. That is interesting. I don't know. I would like it personally just to be like tied in and make it the Hodges trilogy I think should be part of it. Just, I mean, the fanboy in me would hate to see him just kind of like have a line of demarcation and just have it be where she just runs this organization and there's no speaking of how it came to be.
Yeah.
That would suck a little bit from her perspective. For her as a character, to lose all that information would be not great. So
Yeah.
I don't know. That's my opinion. What do you think?
I think that it's going to be mentioned but not expounded on. Like, she's going to say, I started this with a partner and something like that, but not mentioned by name, maybe. I don't even know if HBO can,
Yeah.
Because, like, it gets into a weird situation because, like, the name of the agency that Holly has in The Outsider is Bill's agency from Mr. Mercedes.
Yeah.
Like, they started in they officially name it in book 2.
Yeah.
And everything. What's it called? Do you remember what it's called?
Finders Keepers.
Finders Keepers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, because that's the name of the book.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if she's going to have a different name or anything like that. I mean, the connection in the book is, I think it's the state patrol, the state police officer reaches out to Bill to get his help, and Bill's passed on and he gets Holly instead.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting how they cover that because, the Mr. Mercedes series is being adapted by that DirecTV channel, and HBO has The Outsider.
Yeah.
So I think it may be vague to avoid that.
Yeah.
Right? What is the DirecTV channel that has it? Audience.
Yeah. The question I have is...
Are they owned by the same company?
Yeah.
Are they both Time Warner?
I'm curious if they are. DirecTV is a subsidiary of AT&T.
Oh. So we could get it then.
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously there's creative differences made there. the one in The Outsider, she's actually a black actor versus
Right.
in the Mr. Mercedes show on Audience is more straight up adaptation, basically what most people probably pictured in terms of like
straight brownish black hair,
yeah,
dark hair,
yeah, and
pasty white.
yeah, I think the way they kind of describe her in the book, but no, I'm definitely interested to see both. You know what I just realized too is with them both belonging to DirecTV, I wonder if the Audience stuff will be on HBO Max when that launches.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I didn't either till just now. So that's interesting. That'd be fun. I can't remember. I think the DVD of season 2 was coming out not too long ago, but they're way behind. It seems like because season 3 I think just wrapped not too long ago, and I don't think they ever did Blu-rays on those. Unfortunately, well, it looks like no, there actually is a Blu-ray of season 2. So maybe I'll have to buy that and give that old season 2 a watch, even though that's covering book 3. Yeah, so in terms of I mean it is I think it will be tough, and I could see why if they decide to not have her connect might be because of the differences between the two actors and not wanting to cross the streams and cause confusion. But I don't know. I think that it would be a cool throw in for fans. Because if not, how are they going to get her involved? I guess
It's true,
because they're trying to get in touch with Bill to get his help on it. So it'd be interesting if they, I don't know, skip that.
Yeah, because they were trying
does
to.
she insert herself into the circumstance? You know what I mean?
Maybe she's been doing this for someone else, looking into it for someone else. Like, because the story for The Outsider, this is going a little bit heavy into spoilers here, towards the mid part of the book, is that there is a character that kills himself after being framed. And I think it's, if I got it right, they never actually say where Mr. Mercedes takes place. But we're supposed to believe that it's like Detroit, isn't it?
I thought we were told.
Not
but
in the books. It's never, ever explained where it is. It's so vague. They never say the city. They never say the state. Because I noticed that the first time I read it, and I made sure to pay attention the second time. Because they're like, yeah, at the town center and at North Street. It's never like, no, that's over in, the south side of Detroit or the north side of Ohio, or, what the hell? I'm just spacing on the city in Ohio. I want to say Columbus, but I don't think that's it. Cincinnati.
I was thinking Ohio was kind of what I had thought in my head.
And that's where they kind of base it in, I think, in the Audience series. Go out and say in the book. Like, if you go back through that book again, listen to it really close. They're like, yeah, First Street. It's like, First Street. Like, I mean, how many fucking First Streets are there in America? So
Yeah.
They never give any, like, distinct, oh, over at the Lions Stadium or over at the Bengals Stadium. They never give a distinct landmark. Even I looked it up. Even the place where the concert's taking place, the Mingo Auditorium, completely fictitious.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, okay, but it is Midwest, northern Midwest. And The Outsider takes place in Oklahoma. There's another character who was framed for the murder of two girls, remember?
Yeah.
And Holly goes to investigate that because it's closer to her, and that's why they call Bill. This is like, they're like, well, how are we supposed to get up there to investigate this? And that's where Santiago, I think is his name. Is it Santiago?
Okay.
And it's like, yeah, I know a guy. Let me have him see what he can do.
Yeah.
And that's where he calls Bill and gets Holly. So the only thing I can think of is if they have Holly, like, already on the trail of it, that something's going on. There's these murders that can't be explained. But since they happen so infrequently around the U.S. with different agencies being in control because of different circumstances, they don't communicate. And no one notices because they got their guy. They have the DNA. They have the witnesses. They have the security footage.
Yeah.
So that's where it's like, that's how I see Holly getting brought in if they don't do the call to finders keepers.
Yeah, definitely. It looks like I was also just searching, and looks like 3 weeks ago is when the finale of season 3 happened.
Dang.
So I'd be interested what they're going to do from here. Are they just wrapping the show up and it's over, or do they start to go on their own?
Yeah,
Be
who knows?
interesting. I don't know. What would you prefer?
I mean, keep going. The guy playing Hodges is fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I need to watch the first season again. I enjoyed it a lot, but I've only seen it the once. So, yeah, and then also there's been some hype about The Outsider too. King is basically saying it's one of the best adaptations of his books. So I don't know. That one has me pretty excited for that's in January.
damn, you could buy Mr. Mercedes on Vudu.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, season 2 is only $17.99.
interesting.
No way sponsored by Vudu. I'm just a digital guy, unlike Tad with his physical media.
Yeah.
So that makes me happy that there's a way that I could get it.
Yeah, indeed. So yeah, again, if anyone wants to call in, Skype is Dark Tower Palaver with no spacing or anything. Yeah, like I said, I'm just hoping that nothing is.
You want me to try it real fast just
set.
to make sure it's working?
Sure. That'll at least.
Alleviate that worry from your mind.
Yeah, indeed. Because like I said, everything new, being new just freaks me out because we got a bunch of different variables that we wouldn't normally have. But are you? What's your thoughts on The Outsider? What's your excitement level? You haven't seen the second trailer.
I
yet,
don't
but-
have a way to watch it.
Okay.
I don't have HBO.
Well, I mean, once that gets on the air, I think that's a perfect opportunity. I mean, if you're going to go in for Game of Thrones, like why not The Outsider? Anything on your end? Because I'm not seeing anything yet.
Oh, I haven't called yet. I was
Okay.
answering your question.
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
What is it? Walk and chew gum?
Call. No, I didn't want to.
Okay.
It's showing me calling.
Yeah, it
Okay.
is. Okay, so we're working. That's
Lines
good.
are open.
Yeah, it's working. Yeah. So are you trying not to get excited then because of the HBO situation?
Yeah, I can't watch it, so I can't. Like I'm thinking about what I will do to watch it because it's what $15 a month for HBO now.
Yeah, something like that.
Are they doing the entire series drop or weekly?
Oh, weekly. HBO always does weekly.
Weekly. So
Yeah.
I may wait until it airs and then drop and get a month and watch it. That's what I think I'm going to do. I just hadn't planned on it cuz HBO is not one that I ever thought that I would get back again after Game of Thrones ended.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm gonna probably get HBO Max just because they've got so much content that like when it drops, like I can't wait to get it anyway. And to have the HBO would be nice because like there's a couple shows that they've had recently that are going now in some cases that are going on that I haven't really watched.
Watchmen.
Yeah, Watchmen's supposed
I
to be
keep
really
hearing
good.
so many good things about that, and then Westworld.
Yeah, I mean, I still haven't got into Westworld. And then there's also Succession, I think, is the other show that they have that's supposed to be really good. So I'm mostly just waiting on the HBO Max though, but they got a lot of content, so I will definitely subscribe and see what they have to offer. But yeah, I'm super excited for The Outsider. I mean, I really love that book a lot.
It was really good.
And I mean, just some of the people involved with it, it I don't know, it has me kind of excited to see what we might have with it. Okay, well, yeah, it looks like the chat's going crazy here. So OG Chris is here, Chris from Australia, and then Travis is here. Yeah, we got a whole group. Jack, it looks like we got a whole bunch of people. Yeah, so if anyone would like to send a call in on the Skype, if you want to do that, or if you want to just throw out a topic on the chat here as well.
Don't forget.
For everyone that's new, we basically said this is kind of a appreciation show for you guys as the listeners. So we'll of course talk about Dark Tower and Stephen King, but if you want to throw out other topics too, we're totally okay with that. So yes, Travis, it is indeed. Looks like we do have a call. Let me go ahead and get the thing here. And hello.
Hello?
Hello, this is Chris, right?
Yeah, I'm the OG Chris.
Oh, awesome.
OG Chris.
You called on the original call-in show, which
Yeah.
is 3 years ago now.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
It has. I can't believe
It's been a long time.
can't believe we waited this long to do it again. So how's it going, Chris?
I'm doing fine. How about you guys?
Really good, really good.
Yeah, doing good.
Excited for the end of the year.
Yeah, indeed. Well, I'm just giving you a quick call. First of all, congratulating you guys for these 3 years. I mean, I've been listening to you more or less from the beginning. Um, Again, congratulations for taking this time to share Palaver with us and give us some space to listen from time to time about this Stephen King tale. Um, from you guys, fans to us, fans as well. So
Yeah.
again, congrats.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks
yeah,
so much.
Yeah, and actually, I do remember, Chris. You're actually the first email that was ever sent to the show.
Oh,
as
yeah.
well. So
There's a reason he's OG Chris.
Yeah. not just the first Chris, but the first emailer overall. So, yeah, definitely appreciate the kind words and appreciate you guys as listeners. I think that Peter and I are windbags, so we'd probably be able to talk like this without you guys, but it certainly makes it a hell of a lot more fun to have you guys listening and engaging in the conversation.
It's good that you finally admit that. I mean, you've always called me a windbag, but you've never called yourself one.
Well, you are the preeminent windbag.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, I mean, like I think I've said before on the show, we've basically been doing a podcast for 20 years. We just only started recording 4 years ago. So
no kidding.
That's we're definitely yackers. But yeah, appreciate, like I said, and your email was definitely a sigh of relief when you first sent it, because there was always part of me that knew that fan interaction is what I wanted to see on the show, and we didn't have any there for a
little bit,
couple months, and I was like, oh man, this is getting scary. And then your email, and then after that they just started coming in and hasn't stopped. So I'm definitely glad that you sent that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as the tale says, Kai's a will, because it was quite funny, because actually I just finished the 7th book like 2 days, and then I found your podcast as a recommendation on the podcast app on my phone, and I was like, well, this is probably Kai's a will, as they say. So I was looking for another experience or increase the compensation of this Dark Tower tale after I finish it. I wanted to hear from other people's perspective, because sadly on my friendship circle I don't have any more fans. So I'm glad I found a space where I can chat and hear other people's opinions. So I guess thank you for that. And well, it was a pleasure to talk to you. I'm on a quick call because I get back to work.
Okay.
But then again, congratulations, guys.
Awesome.
I hope you can continue with this. It's always a pleasure to hear from you and the other people and read other people on the chat. And
likewise.
I will still hope for Peter to admit his fandom for Random Flag.
Never.
We'll get him one day. We'll convert him.
Not
gonna happen.
Alexander Skarsgård is the key. I think he's gonna win your heart over.
No.
You're gonna realize just how lovable he is.
No.
Yeah, we will have to wait. How is Randy interpreter or player on the upcoming The Stand series, and also hopefully on the Amazon series. And so can Peter finally admit, his love for our guy?
No.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of flag. If Dark Tower gets the green light, we'll have 2
series.
Limited series and a full series that is going to have him prominently featured. So that's
as the bad guy in both. I mean,
that's debatable.
I mean, we can all agree from time to time we tend to love the bad guy. I mean, some examples: Darth Vader. Probably that's the most popular example to take on loving the bad guy. Probably the Joker.
Joker's a big one.
Next time it's going to be Random Flag.
Yeah, indeed.
He named my 2 biggest fandoms in the world in Star Wars and Batman. And the funny thing is, I never cared for Darth Vader. I was always a Luke Skywalker fan. And Batman, I've always been a fan of Batman. And Harvey Dent is my favorite villain.
Okay.
So never, not to disrespect the Joker. The Joker's the greatest Batman villain of all time. But my favorite is always the pull to former best friend who went evil and insane, and you got to try to save him.
What are you pointing at me for?
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ted doesn't need to get half his face melted off to be evil. He already is.
But yeah,
Oh, guys.
thank you for the call, Chris. Appreciate it.
Have fun at work.
Okay.
All right.
care.
See ya.
Bye.
Yeah, and what Chris mentioned there, I will say, is one of my favorite things that we hear from people is that they have no Dark Tower community. And just, for us to help fill that void is always one of my favorite things to hear, because we've heard it a number of times from a number of different people. And that is definitely one of my favorite things to hear, because, yeah, it sucks to be a fan of something and not have, anyone to talk about or anyone to, commiserate with on whatever fandom that you have. So definitely love hearing that, and love seeing connections made, whether it's just people on Twitter or, in our chat rooms, that kind of stuff. So that's awesome.
Ryan said in the chat, Jedi Fallen Order is great. You should play it. I responded and said, we both, I meant to say, but we are both going to. We literally had a text conversation about this 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
About that game?
Yeah.
And who developed it and how we don't have trust for EA and everything like that after Battlefront.
Yeah, I pretty much boycotted. I haven't bought a Star Wars game since Disney signed the contract for EA, because there's just part of me, I hate EA. I hate getting exclusive contracts. I think that just allows for lazy game making, and they've proved my point up to this point. I mean, and it sounds like this might be the first game, and they have I told you what Titanfall. So the company that used to make Titanfall, they bought, and they are the ones that made this game. So
but it was a recent acquisition straight into developing this game. So it's like, ooh, they didn't get their hands in there to fiddle with it. So
yeah, they didn't screw it up yet. So I mean, this might be the first one that I'll buy in the EA realm. But yeah, I'm definitely not a fan of EA, and I've definitely been hearing good things about it, for sure.
I had my birthday last month, and it was literally a toss up between Borderlands 3, because I recently played the first two Borderlands, and I was like, the third one comes out in a few months. So it was literally between Borderlands 3 and Jedi Fallen Order, and it was like, I'm going to stick with the company that isn't owned by EA. The game that isn't made by EA. So I'm going to go that route. And now I'm like, man, I'm still playing Borderlands 3. It's a fantastic game. I love that game. I love that series. But now it's like, I really want Jedi Fallen Order.
Yeah.
If my wife is listening, hint, hint, nudge, nudge, Christmas is coming up.
Yeah, I think I might pull the trigger on it fairly soon. The one thing that I find interesting is from the trailers I watched, it seems to me his character story stuff is pretty much a lift in a lot of ways from Kanan Jarrus from the Rebels show. He's a Padawan.
Really?
When Order 66 happens. He survives. I believe you're using both lightsabers and blaster. So I don't know if he has the same, I'm not going to, reveal that I'm a Jedi, but then it eventually gets forced into it or not. But there were some circumstantial things where I was like, holy shit, dude, this is straight from Rebels.
Yeah, there was a part of the trailer where he's working at a factory or something like that in very dangerous situations, like it's raining or something, if I remember right. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ryan. And someone's about to get smashed, and he uses the Force to stop it from smashing him. And they're like, wait a minute, what the fuck? And then all of a sudden he's on the run. I don't know if that's actually in the game. Don't spoil it or anything for anyone that hasn't played it like me and Tad. But that's what you make a very good point that very well could be his. This could be his origin story.
I didn't think about that. I was actually just not griping, but there was just part of me that's man, you're basically taking his story, and that makes me curious. But maybe it will end up somehow being Kanan. That would be strange, but I mean, I'd love it, because I think Rebels. I can't necessarily say Rebels is the absolute best thing Disney's done so far, because Mandalorian now exists, but I still might edge it to Rebels. But Mando is definitely
over Force Awakens and
dude, I love the movies, I really do, but I think Rebels hit some points that none of the movies have touched yet.
Really,
in my opinion, yeah. I
you prefer Rebels over 7 and 8.
Yeah, I think I do.
Damn.
Yeah, there's some stuff in Rebels that is like some of the best.
Breaking news: Tad hates Star Wars.
Some of the best Star Wars I've seen, man. Like
Tad's a hater of the new movies.
Okay, let's just say this, dude. Let's just say this. There's a duel in Rebels that I rank as probably in my top 3 duels of all Star Wars, including the prequels, including the original. So yeah, I think that Dave Filoni did an incredible job with Rebels, and yeah, it's a good one. It's just a good show.
I'm assuming it's the one I'm thinking of.
There's actually there is 2 really good options.
That's what I was gonna say. I'm assuming it's the one with the owl.
Yeah, I think
Okay.
yeah, there's some good stuff in there. But yeah, I am interested to play that. Maybe I'll even after the episode, maybe I'll buy it and get it downloading. The game there and give it a whirl.
The Chris in the chat makes a comment. Well, the Mouse Inc. more or less threatened EA with something like, "Do a great game, or we'll take your exclusive license." So they went out and bought the guys that do Titanfall, and they're like, "Quick, make us a good game."
Yeah. The problem is that EA is just a fucking maw. They just like absorb all kinds of companies, and they end up getting destroyed. I mean,
I saw a meme about that, and it was like funny at first, but the more I looked at it, I'm like, God, there's actually some good games on here.
yeah, but dude,
Like-
Command and Conquer. They bought Westwood that made Command and Conquer back in the day.
Yeah,
And then Generals is the first one they made under EA, and it's like that one.
it was okay.
And then everything since then has been absolute garbage.
Yeah.
Like I'll go
When
back.
was the last time they made a game for Command and Conquer?
I don't even know. I wouldn't. I'm not paying attention.
There's
at
a
this point.
lot of studios that made good games that were bought out by EA that have not since followed up with anything
Yeah.
worthwhile.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, so yeah, anyone, if you want to call in, definitely line is opened. Trying to keep my eye peripherally on the old screen there. And Ryan says good Clone Wars and Rebels references in the game. Yeah, that I would almost expect that, but yeah, that'd be awesome. And I mean, honestly, I'm not necessarily griping either. Like, I wouldn't be surprised that there isn't a few out there that are survivors of Order 66. I think a lot of people cling to a single line in the original trilogy to make it seem like there can't be any Jedi except for Luke at that point. And because, like, honestly, it comes into a question of like, is Kanan even a Jedi? He was never made.
He was a Padawan.
Yeah, he was just a Padawan. Like,
They even talk about it in episode 1 where Obi-Wan's like, I'm ready for the trials to become a Jedi. Something along those lines. I can't remember the exact line, but yeah, Kanan officially, I don't think he would ever be classified as a Jedi. He's a Padawan. And yes, you need to read that out loud.
go ahead.
No, it's for you, not me. It has your name on it.
Oh, Darth Fuel. Did he? Is that? Let's see. Who is? I don't know. I'm not sure if we know who that is. My memory certainly isn't helping me there. He says, I realized after 3 years, Tad still thinks it's debatable that Randall Flagg is a bad guy. He is, in parentheses, hashtag Team Oi. Oh, yeah. That's that hurts. That's a dagger to the old heart
It's
there.
true. He is the bad guy.
And then OG Chris said the last good Star Wars game I recall is Force Unleashed series. I never actually got into that series. I know you did, but I never...
actually just replayed them this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they were free games of the month for Xbox Gold members.
Oh, okay.
I got both of them.
Okay.
And yeah, it was maybe that wasn't this year that they were free. Maybe it was in the past because I do that with Gold games. Like I'll download Gold games. Like I seriously just got Friday the 13th for free.
Really?
The multiplayer game. It was one of the free games of the month for November.
Okay.
So I just got it for free. I haven't played it. I haven't even downloaded it. Literally, I'll hit get, buy. It'll be like, thank you for your purchase. Installing. And I'll be like, cancel that installation. I have a bunch of Assassin's Creed games that I've never played. That's how I got the Borderland games. I mean, that's how I found the Batman Arkham games. So it's just kind of how I play games. Is sometimes I'll hit on a gold game. Literally Force Unleashed. And then earlier this year, I was like, yeah, this could be fun. And so literally I went in and loaded up Force Unleashed, played through it, had so much fun that I just loaded up the second one and just played straight through it too.
Oh yeah, I actually my gold lapsed some months ago, and I realized like I hadn't used it in months. So I'm just like, I'm not gonna renew. Like at some point, I will. like when I actually need to. But like I'm gonna not keep paying, like because it was a yearly one too. So I'm just like, like I don't know if I need it right now. So I don't have access to the free games currently.
Gotcha.
But no, I definitely need to buy that new Star Wars game because it definitely. I've discovered a few. I didn't know Friday the 13th on there. That's a one I actually do want to play. That Friday the 13th game.
I actually think it still technically is. Because
Yeah.
they do it for. They have 2 free games every month, so it's like the 1st to 15th, and then the 16th to the 31st. So, so it would be gone now because it's December because it was a November game.
Oh, okay.
So,
I mean, I think last I looked, it was getting pretty low on the price anyway. It was down around $20-$30. So, and I think it released at $40 or $50. Like it wasn't even a full price game when it came out, but I definitely do want to play that. It's one of those things I've been talking about, a video game like that since the Super Nintendo era. I mean, not that a game on Super Nintendo would have been that good for a slasher thing, but me and my cousin and my brother would always talk about like, dude, they should make like or two things where one, a Mortal Kombat game was just all horror movie characters, and the second one was like, a game with like killers and victims and like Jason, Freddy, everyone.
The Friday the 13th game has its issues, and the mechanics I don't feel are that great. I've seen it played. If you want to check out a game that's refined and well polished and actually has really good killers included, is Dead by Daylight. It has Ghostface, Jigsaw. It's the girl, not the guy, because cancer.
Didn't he die in like the second movie?
Yeah, Freddy and Michael Myers.
Okay,
along with their own creations. There's one like there's a guy called like the Hillbilly, and he just has a sledgehammer and throwing hatchets.
Speaking of sledgehammer, that Texas Chainsaw Massacre with the sledgehammer, that meat hammer thing that Junior uses there, that's brutal.
I think that's what it's based off of, is that one. So
yeah. And then I mean, let's be honest, Mortal Kombat at this point has done how many serial killers now from the movies?
Yeah, no kidding. Like they're putting them in and everything like that as characters in Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, we got another call. This is Travis on the line.
Hey,
Travis, how's it going?
Hello, Tad and Peter. Finally, I get to speak with you guys.
Yeah, indeed. How's it going?
It's going, man. I just got off work. For all the other listeners, I got to do this. This is Travis Maxaboon of the Nightclub Podcast.
Yeah, indeed. Plug away.
Yeah.
Plug away.
I heard you guys talking about Dead by Daylight, and I just had to jump in right then and there. I'm still driving, but I'm hands-free. My buddy who I'm working with, he just downloaded that game last night. And yeah, he's got all those characters y'all were talking about.
That's interesting. I've never even heard of this game, so I definitely need to check it out, as well as Friday the 13th. I did find it interesting that you did definitely call right as we were talking about horror movies, because I know you're definitely a fan of such things.
Well, my latest episode was all about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and how I see it from a different point of view than some people. I tied it to the god Saturn from Roman mythology, and I also tied it to astrology, if you're gonna go a little woo-woo with it, but it works in the film because they kind of talk about astrology. One of the kids they're doing like readings throughout the movie, and it ties into the events that are happening, but that's neither here nor there. What is up? This is the second live call-in show you guys have done?
Yeah, it is. I was actually thinking it was 2 years ago we did the last, but apparently it was 3 now. Peter looked it up, so it's been a while.
And I was listening back then too. I don't know why I missed that first one.
Yeah, I'm so like vague on what even happened in that. That was so long ago.
We had some good calls on that episode.
Yeah, we did. I remember some good conversation. Man, yeah, I can't remember like.
Well, the nice part about it is back when the podcast was fairly still young, so we still hadn't got to every topic.
Yeah.
So a lot of people brought up topics like, man, what do you think about like this situation and this and everything like that? And it's like, oh yeah, that's a good thing. We haven't talked about that yet. Here, let us go off on a tangent like we always do. So it's a little bit different this time.
About the show.
Yeah, it's a little bit different this time. I mean, have we?
You guys, oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, have we missed anything? And like,
yeah.
Bring it up. Let's go.
If you guys ever make T-shirts, tangents are a thing or something like that have to be on it. Also, hashtag Tad is terrible, because that's just pretty much the catchphrase. I mean, it's got to be a shirt, has to be, or like a beanie or something, man. I don't know.
Yeah.
But definitely,
Yeah, I gotta. I think it's mostly at this point look at getting designs made, and then from there, there's some places that do it. The person that contacted me at one point, that didn't really pan out.
Yeah.
But it is definitely so. I was actually thinking about that not even a week ago. I was at work and I was like, merchandise. This is something we talked about at one point, but it kind of fell away. But so it's been on my mind recently for sure.
holla at your boy. I do designs for my show, like all the logos and everything. That's all me.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, because that was the main thing when that guy like reached out to us is like, I'm like, okay, like we asked people if they'd be interested, and there was some interest. I'm like, okay. I'm like, well, then the next set is like having designs and like what to put on, and then also having that design.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like, and then like that dude kind of just petered out, and it was like, oh, all right, whatever. So that was
you gotta throw
that-
me out there like that.
That was that. So, but yeah. Well, I'll definitely look into that a little bit more. I know there's some places out there like TeePublic and stuff that a lot of people post stuff on. So I think it's like one of those like if you do designs, they'll just print it for you, I believe. So
I actually ordered some stuff off of TeePublic the other day, and it's like, hey, do you have a design? And I'm like, no. And now that I think about that, I'm like, how hard would it be to put a text out? Hashtag that is terrible.
well, you want yeah. Definitely, but yeah, I mean, dude, I have so many shirts from them. It's crazy.
Yeah.
like a lot of nerdy shirts. That is definitely what I'm always getting from them.
I got a Captain America shirt from them just last year. That's Captain America doing the finger point with the old school shield, not the round one, but like the
the
medieval that one. Yeah, from your tour poster.
Yeah.
And it's I want you to watch your language.
Yeah. Which of course I will never do, but
Never.
So Travis, how's everything going otherwise?
Well, I've been a lifestyle change. I was working your normal, 5 day a week job, what have you, in Louisiana, where I'm from, and after 5 years with that company, we parted ways, and now I'm doing construction all over the place. So I started in Missouri back in October. Now I'm in Mississippi. I'm spreading that AT&T signal. That's pretty much what I'm doing.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. We were just talking about
Yeah.
AT&T a little bit ago
We were.
because they own a few things that are doing Stephen King things, and we can maybe see a universe come out of that.
That would be incredible. Just like how they're about to do the new Nick Cage film. It's that H.P. Lovecraft story. I forget the name of it. The Color Out of Space or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah. I saw a headline of that. I actually didn't read too much into it, but
Apparently, they're going to develop a trilogy.
oh, okay, that'd be interesting. Yeah, I think everyone is kind of like licking their wounds from failing at doing shared universes, and now like there's some people that are like, let's try again and maybe be smarter about it.
Yeah.
Because I think everyone's still looking at Marvel and just going, dude, like we got to be able to
Someone
get on
else
this.
has to be able to do
Yeah,
this.
yeah, but
Well, they do. They have someone, and he's never brought up in the same breath as Kevin Feige anywhere. His name is Jason Blum. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Blumhouse.
but I don't think I mean their stuff isn't as connected though. It's more just I think he makes some brilliant I guess gets brilliant movies made, but they're not necessarily connected and stuff like the
Like
Marvel.
same universe.
But Bloomhouse, I mean,
Well-
I love them, man. They and eight.
Well, I'm speaking of the Conjuring universe and how that branches
Oh,
out.
okay.
Annabelle,
Oh.
The Nun. He is crafting. I mean, the quality varies here and there, and I'm a horror fan first and foremost, so I can tell you not all of those movies. I wouldn't. I'm not gonna shit on them, but they're not all up to par of what maybe Conjuring 1 and 2. I would consider those probably like the as far as his shared universe.
Oh, okay.
And that's what catapulted, that whole thing is the success of those films.
yeah.
But just to say, he's made his own small little, semi-shared universe. I like what he's doing, even if I'm not a fan of all the films. I really appreciate it.
And he's behind the new Halloween trilogy as well, the new Laurie Strode trilogy that they're working on.
Fucking A.
So yeah, I definitely love him for bringing Halloween back into the I don't know, just prestige almost in a way. I feel like the new one is the only one that's ever been on the same level as the original. And I love
Hell
all of
yeah.
them. But
Yeah.
but yeah, the new one is a killer one. I can't wait to see the other two movies.
It's
so
a killer one, really?
I mean, dude, it's incredible.
And I get in trouble for making dad jokes. It's a killer about a movie about Michael Myers. Really?
Yeah,
Really?
I didn't mean to do that. Though. It just happened.
He's punny.
Yeah.
You should hear his jokes about Randall Flagg being a good guy. It's hilarious.
Yeah, sure.
Well, funny. No.
Okay, I gotta have someone call in that's gonna support me on my side. Like, come on.
I don't come down on either side of the. That's why I was a huge proponent of you guys doing the Flag Summit. I love that episode.
Yeah.
I don't come down either way on Randall Flagg, but you know, I love you, Tad, but he's not a nice guy.
No, he's not. No, he's not.
He's not a nice. He's not. I mean, objectively, I guess if the grand scheme of things, what does being nice and not nice really matter or mean technically? And if you go that route, then I can see things through Flagg's eyes and some of the decisions he's made in several stories. Which, side tangent here.
There we go.
I have, and it's tattered as hell. I got to take a picture of it and like email it to you guys. I have an original hardcover publication of The Stand.
Oh,
awesome.
And I got it from a library, man. Like
seriously?
Yeah.
What's the cover on it?
There is no cover.
Oh, really?
It's just the I don't know how you'd call it. It's just like the cover itself. There's no cover though. It's just I guess the cover would have been wrapped around it.
Oh, like the hardcover, like the wraps with it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know if this is like the publication is the year that the book was published. So I'm like, is this the first edition? Do they say first edition in the book if you have it?
I don't think so because I don't think they ever put the foresight into like
this is going to be like a huge, book that's going to be expanding decades.
That anyone's going to care.
Like yeah.
I mean, I'd say majority books that come and go, nobody gives a shit that it was like in a lot of cases, it might just be the hardcover and the paperback, and that's all that ever comes out. So it's just a matter of that.
Yeah.
So, I don't think anyone ever has a foresight to know that like, oh, we're going to republish this book 5 or 6 times over the next 25 years. So, that's interesting. I don't think I've ever actually read the non-expanded version of The Stand, to be honest. I think I've only ever read the 1991 expansion.
Yeah.
I think that's the only one I've ever read personally. So,
so this is like this would be sort of uncharted territory then.
Yeah, I mean, I bet for a lot of people, honestly, unless you're older and you were around back before that was published, I think most of us have probably read only the expanded version because
that's all that's available.
Yeah, I mean, just like the Gunslinger, I don't think you find Gunslinger versions. You can't buy a new publication of the unaltered one. So
yeah,
I also scored off of Instagram, which. Man, that is popping for podcasts. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Get on there.
Yeah, you've told me that before. Actually, I need to do that,
dude. Yeah, it's because I mean, and your social media preference. That's cool. I tried using Twitter. My audience did not at all grow on it, but that might just be me, and maybe I need to try it again. I probably should. But Instagram's awesome, and I scored this is a first edition paperback of Cycle of the Werewolf.
Ooh.
I've been because I'm also a huge werewolf fan. That's like my favorite movie monster. If I had to boil them all down,
Peter too.
So, well, there. Oh, me and you, bro. We're Moon Brothers or whatever the hell. So yeah, that shit is awesome. And I scored a Rosemary's Baby. I don't know if it's first. I don't even care if it's first, but I just want the novel because apparently Polanski adapted that film. When he got the rights to it, he thought, okay, so I just adapt it from the book. That's what I do. That's how this works, right? So the movie itself is like supposed to be, and I haven't read the book. I can't back it up, just repeating what I've heard or read. But apparently the movie is a faithful, like extremely faithful adaptation. And you guys are going to hate me right now. Going back to The Stand, I've actually never seen the miniseries.
Oh, wow. That'd be interesting if you were to watch it and just let us know what you thought if you ever do watch it, because I
plan on.
I think for me, I actually do really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if there's a lot of nostalgia, kind of like the original It.
Guys, I'm sorry. I fucked up. I'm sorry. I've seen the Stand miniseries many times. I meant to say The Shining. My bad.
Yeah.
The 97 series.
Yes, I've never seen that.
Oh, I haven't.
The Stand is
Yeah,
one of the best. I've seen that shit over and over.
Yeah, Peter hasn't either.
I caught one part of it at one point randomly on someone's TV when I was in high school, and I'm like, "What is this?" It's The Shining. I'm like, "That's not Jack Nicholson." And they're like, "No, it's the miniseries." And I'm like, that's too much for me." And I just left the room. So yeah, me and Tad actually had a conversation about this month ago about possibly throwing it on the docket for next year, doing an Unfound Door of us watching. Because Tad, when's the last time you watched it?
I watched it when it aired.
And that's it?
In 97, yeah.
Yeah, so 22 years ago. So you haven't seen it.
Yeah, pretty much. There's a couple things I kind of remember vaguely. But so basically the thought process was we do a second Unfound Door, because I've already done one on The Shining. But we would basically do it to where we would watch the Kubrick movie, the miniseries, and then
read the book.
Call it The Door You Never Want to Find.
Yeah.
Here's Johnny.
Yeah, indeed. And then we thought then we would just basically go through and talk about the adaptations and that kind of thing. Peter being a completely fresh watcher of the series.
Chris in the chat just says, "Wait, what? There's a Shining miniseries?" Yeah, King didn't like the movie as much with Kubrick, so they actually went and did a miniseries with The Shining. I don't even remember, do you remember, any details about it? I don't even know, anyone who was in it.
I know this. That it was in agreement with ABC, right? That's who produced the shit. It was in it.
Yeah, I actually just pulled up my old DVD copy here. It's got Warner Brothers. I don't know what TV station they're associated with. Honestly,
or who they were back then.
But the whole gist of it is part of the stipulation for giving King full reign, and that's why you get the whole crew like Mick Garris and everyone that's affiliated with helping King do shit, TV wise or movie wise, or mainstayers rather. Part of the stipulation was stop shitting on Kubrick's version of the movie so much.
Yeah,
and he agreed to it. But his comeback to that, his rebuttal was, all right, I'll counter offer you this. I won't talk shit on Kubrick or his vision, but I will continue to talk shit about Jack Nicholson. He was all wrong for that part.
I mean, I think I've told you before is, the original is like one of the greatest horror movies of all time. And it is what it is. But yeah, when you start looking at it from the perspective of the book, yeah, Jack is totally wrong because he's crazy from the beginning. I mean, the honest trailers that got released on The Shining was like, a dad that seems like he hates his family to begin with. And it shows like the scene from their drive up and stuff. Yeah. It's like, there's just like no shift here. He just pretty much hates his family from the beginning. I'm looking at it over here, the old thing. And I think we definitely got to do that. I don't know who this actor is. He's from the show. He was in the '90s show Wings. If anyone's seen that, but I'm trying to remember if there's anything else that he's done that Peter would know, because I don't know that Peter would have known Wings back in the day. I don't know.
I thought he was in the band with Paul McCartney.
What's that?
I'm sorry, I made a stupid joke. I said I thought he was in that band with Paul McCartney.
Oh, yeah.
You got to be a certain age to know what the hell I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Sorry, listener.
Steven Weber.
Yeah, Steven Weber. And so he's the dude that plays Jack. And as Mark in the chat mentions, the hedge monsters are in it, and I do think that's probably something that dates pretty horribly. Because it was the 90s. But yeah, no, I would like to watch it again, and that's how this whole idea came in my mind as I told Peter. I'm like, you haven't seen it. I'm like, we should just watch it and then watch the Kubrick film, watch it, and then kind of do an episode and talk through the two adaptations. So
we had a conversation about this the other day, on air, last episode, not the other day. The Shining movie was filmed in Oregon.
Yeah.
But the Stanley Hotel is the inspiration.
Yeah.
For the movie.
That's the one that King was at when he wrote it, or got the idea to write it. Yeah.
So I just pulled up the miniseries just so I could see where it aired, who's in it, and just see if I know anyone from it. And I caught this sentence here. The miniseries was shot at the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. So the miniseries was shot in Colorado.
Yeah.
So when people say The Shining was filmed at the Stanley Hotel, they are not wrong.
Yeah, it's true.
Correct.
But they're thinking of the Kubrick
Also-
movie.
They're
let's be
thinking of the
honest.
Kubrick movie. Yes, exactly. And also, by the way, it aired on ABC.
ABC.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Okay, cool. I can never remember.
Another little. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Another fun little fact, real quick. They chose that area and stuff, and the certain months they were going to film it and all that, because they were like, oh yeah, snow. It needs to be snowy. It didn't snow. It just and they brought in snow machines and did the whole thing. Right as they got the snow machines there up and running, guess what happens?
A downpour of snow, I'm guessing.
Fucking snow.
We actually had a similar thing because the Winter Olympics were here in Salt Lake in 2002, and there was a huge worry for the last couple years that it would be a dry year, and they were like getting all kinds, millions of dollars in snow machines and stuff. I think we ended up being fine, but I think a couple years before 2000, like 2000, 2001, I think were super dry years for us. So yeah, that sounds like old news for us when it comes to worrying about snow.
I want to go there one day, man.
Yeah, me too. I looked into it at one point. I think generally if you want room 217, you got to do about a year out.
So stay in a different room. Like,
No.
why would you even want to stay in that room?
Why would you want to stay there if you're not going to stay in that
No.
room, for God's sake?
Yes, of course.
I mean, that's the whole point, right?
Man, he is Steven Weber. I just looked Steven Weber up. He is in Nothing I Know.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking. Yeah, I don't know. The guy that plays his brother in Wings, it was in The Sopranos, and I don't know, but yeah, I'm not sure. But yeah, I think we're gonna definitely do that next year sometime. Probably in the first quarter of the year would be my guess. We'll do a thing of The Shining.
That's why I know her. His wife is one of the ladies in Backdraft.
Oh, okay. Backdraft. That's going back a ways.
Shit, and she was in the Disney's Three Musketeers movie too.
We've hit Peter's vein for the 90s.
Before I let you guys go, because I don't want to take up too much time from other people that want to call in, I did have a few quick questions. I will catch up. My job is 7 days a week for 6 weeks on end. I work 6 and 1. So I'm trying to produce. At this point, I've dropped my episodes from weekly to bi-weekly. I think that's how you guys do it too, right? Like
Yeah.
twice a month?
Yeah, every other week. Yeah.
So I'm catching up on pods. I just have 2 quick questions. Peter, have you seen El Camino?
Yeah.
Okay, you love it?
Oh, it was good. It was really good.
Awesome.
It's watching Eddie Dean run around our world. So, yeah.
Yeah, fucking A. All right, glad. I just wanted to know that, and I will go back and listen to this episode. But just real quick, hot takes. I didn't get to see it yet. I tried hard, but after I get off work, construction all day, man, I'm beat. How was Dr. Sleep?
It was really good.
Really liked it.
Yeah, loved it a lot. Yeah, I think Mr. Flanagan is got quite the knack.
Hot take from last episode, or was it the episode before where we did Dr. Sleep?
Yeah, the Dr. Sleep episode. I can't remember. I think it was
Yeah.
last time.
Tad thinks that Flanagan is the best Stephen King director.
At the moment?
No.
No, just in general. I think because like I basically what I
Yeah, I know.
basically what I said with Frank Darabont. Basically, what I said with Frank Darabont is the ones that he's adapted were a hell of a lot easier than Gerald's Game and Doctor Sleep that exist in the world that The Shining was made by Stanley Kubrick.
Mm-hmm.
So
I agree with that.
kind of age or like a range of difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Flanagan had a hell of a lot harder time with both of his movies, and I think both movies he fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
So, like in that way, I mean, I think that obviously, I think Shawshank Redemption is one of the greatest movies of all
Oh, yeah.
time, and probably, yeah, I don't know that there's a better, Stephen King movie.
I just like throwing
But-
Tad under the bus, but no, yeah, absolutely. He explained it last time as well. That no,
I'm gonna go back and listen to that, but that
Yeah.
little brief synopsis right there makes it make I totally get it. It's 100% makes sense because Gerald's Game was supposed to be unfilmable, but
yeah,
Mike Flanagan said, "Hold my beer." Then you get The Shining, a sequel to The Shining, and it's a sequel to the movie and the book somehow.
Mhm.
yeah.
Because Flanagan said, "Hold my whole case of beer."
yeah,
I mean, this guy's off the walls, man. I consider him. I have a thing I call the modern horror trifecta of Ari Aster, Robert Eggers, and Jordan Peele. Well, you know what, Mr. Flanagan, there, he's nipping at their heels, and I think I ought to include him. What's a not a trifecta. What is it when you put the fourth one in?
Quartet, I guess, right? That sounds musical, but quartet would be my.
Yeah.
That's how I've always.
Oh, fuck it.
Yeah.
Modern horror quartet. Then I'll
No,
take
you know
it.
what you do? As soon as you hit the fourth one, you start calling it the Mount Rushmore of modern
Yeah,
horror.
that's true. And I do agree with your list. The only one I'd question is James Wan, how he fits into it.
Oh, come on. Leave the director of Aquaman alone.
No, dude,
mean, look-
horror wise, like that dude like carried the torch for a good
Oh, he
number
did.
of years.
No, I'm just kidding. He absolutely did. He made really good movies. He's the one that
My-
did Saw, right?
Yeah.
Like the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
that movie.
My basis of James. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna tell Peter as well. So he did that. He did The Conjuring, also Dead Silence, which he and I saw in theaters.
ugh. Puppets.
Yeah.
No.
Puppets. So he's done it. He's spread himself out. He's done some good horror movies, in my opinion. So usually I would say he's kind of the measuring stick of modern horror in my mind. So I was just curious what your thoughts would be, how he fits into that.
I think like how you said. Okay, so if you're gonna say horror had a renaissance, it's definitely going to start with the Conjuring films. As far as mainstream audience is paying more and more attention to horror film, and I'm not going to bring politics into it or anything like that, but horror does tend to get a bit of a jump in the mainstream whenever there's political strife. That's just kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's yeah. So that being said, when Juan, he got big, and so horror tends to be, for some directors, like their starting point or whatever, I guess, because it's cheap, it's easy to make, you can show off what you can do, yada yada yada.
Yeah.
So Juan, like Peter said, Mr. Aquaman now. So he's at that level now.
Yeah.
Superhero films, but the people that since 2014, 15 that have been just to me leading the charge in the horror field were the three guys that I mentioned.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna do an episode on them, and I'm gonna have to give Juan some props and Flanagan some props. But as far as pushing boundaries, pushing the envelope, I also want to say Darren Aronofsky too, with films like Black Swan and Mother.
Yeah.
I think he has some really experimental ideas. The fact that a mainstream studio put out a film like Mother at all, I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
I still need to see that one.
Yeah, no, dude, that one was like in and out of the theater, my theater, in
Right.
like a week. Like I think it was gone
caught
like
it.
within a week.
I caught it in theaters. It was either that or the Tom Cruise film American Made about the cocaine.
Yeah, that one disappeared quick too. The theaters here, like they were like blink and you missed them type thing.
that was
But
a good film, man. But yeah, I saw Mother in theaters. But anyway, I'm not gonna keep you guys anymore. Thank you for taking my call, for always reading my emails. Thank you guys for putting on such a fucking awesome show for many years of free entertainment. Free people stop bitching about shit that they want to talk about. Like, for real, I can say this. You might not, but I can say it. Shut up. Let them do what they want. They're great. And also, I like the evolution of the show. Like, I like that you guys are like, it's Dark Tower stuff. I'm a huge Tower junkie. I'm like, wow, someone that can actually like go on and on and on about this shit the way I want to. And there's no, you've heard this a million times. There's no one else there to do it because it's, like niche Stephen King.
yeah.
So you guys were like bolt out of the blue. I don't even remember how I found your show, but I'm glad I did. And I like now that you've expanded it to cover Uncle Stevie and all of his other works. I think that was, I think that's a good move, just for content's sake. And I mean, why ignore it? It's so juicy. I mean, it leads to so many great conversations, and it's fun to listen to you guys. Love you guys. I love this show. Thank you so much, man. Like, for real, appreciate y'all.
Yeah, thank you for the kind words. It's awesome, and definitely again glad to have you guys all as listeners. It makes it a lot of fun to do for sure. And yeah, awesome. And yeah, we're looking forward to a long time more of doing these and talking about all kinds of fun Stephen King stuff and Dark
For
Tower
sure.
stuff.
Yeah.
But before I roll out, could I do one more plug?
Go.
All right, guys. Nightclub Podcast. Check it out. Next episode is on 2016's The Void. It's going to be good stuff. I'm going to tie that into the Fermi paradox.
There you go.
So, yeah.
Sweet.
All right, guys. Appreciate y'all. I'm going to now continue to listen.
Awesome. Thanks for calling in.
Have a good one.
Thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, so we got some stuff to catch up on in the chat. Mark says the Shining miniseries is great. Not seen it for a while, though. The hedge monsters are in it, LOL. We all know how Tad feels about the hedge monsters.
No, the thing is like, I felt like even the time when it aired, it was just kind of like, oh, okay. So, like, the fact that I had that reaction and when it was brand new makes me think that watching it now, 20-something years later, is probably not gonna be the greatest, but we'll see.
Mark goes on to say it is definitely more faithful to the book. This is an interesting one that you've said yourself. I feel like King adaptations could be like Disney, as in every 10, 20 years we get a new readaptation, hopefully. So I did a follow-up question to that, and I said, Jack, Shining, Shawshank, or Green Mile, does that include classics? And he says, haha, in my opinion, probably not, but I'm sure they'll try it if they think they can do it. And then Lucas says a modern Salem's Lot would be interesting, and I'm like, it's in the works.
Yeah, indeed. So I think it looks like I can drag something onto the screen here.
Ah!
Yeah, so they're something else, man. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how they look in motion. For sure.
So we're going to do this for sure next year, right? The miniseries?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Are we doing, and you're wanting to do the miniseries, the movie, and the book in one episode?
No, I want to just talk about adaptations because I've already covered the book on the first. I mean, if you wanted to talk about something that like that, whatever, that's totally fine. Like the door isn't closed to talk about the book, but I want to just talk
the two adaptations.
I'm
down. You know I'm there.
Yeah, so I mean, maybe in we'll get it planned out. In terms of like when, but
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Travis says in the chat, love the hedge monsters.
Yeah. So that's what they look like. I mean, honestly, looking at the picture now, it isn't as bad as I remembered it. Maybe it was just like that one of those things where kids are just not that forgiving.
Yeah.
But honestly, dude, I watched some shit that like, is like, dude, to me, the 1933 King Kong is still the absolute best that they've ever done for King Kong.
Yeah?
I mean, Kong Skull Island is probably number 2 for me, but I still love the classic as the 100% my favorite. So, I don't know. As an adult, I think it's easier to just be like, yeah, I don't need, like, shit to be, like, 100%, like, photorealistic. Like, it doesn't have to be Jurassic Park, type thing in terms of realism. So, yeah, that's stupid. There we go. Get rid of Skype here. It was asking me to do a survey.
How was your call?
Yeah, I always hear all these horror stories of podcasters that have issues with like dropping calls and stuff like that, and they never get surveys after they drop a call. It's kind of weird how that works, right?
Yeah.
No, I think that to Jack's point, yeah, I think that and whether it's Disney is definitely kind of doing something similar, but I think that I look at it as like a play, right? Like a Shakespeare play. Like that's readapted constantly for stage productions, whether it's high school or college or whoever, whatever thing. They're always redoing it. So I feel like King stuff should be open to some readaptations.
How many times have we seen a Romeo and Juliet story out there in the world?
Yeah.
I mean, just in movies.
Yeah.
Not in school plays or on Broadway or in, theaters. We have a theater here in Utah that has done it. I know they've done it.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, we have stories of Romeo and Juliet all over the place, even if it's not called Romeo and Juliet. And so that's where it gets a little bit different here with King, is that it's like, oh, you're going to make a haunted hotel with a caretaker staying over the winter with his family. That's not going to go well. You're going to get sued. So it's a little bit different with that, but I get your point. And
it's going to have to be stuck with the company that did the original, because when a company buys rights to like a story, say like The Shining, they buy it in perpetuity. Like it's like they're the only ones that can do a new version. It can't be another company. So that's setting it in stone where it has to be the same people.
Yeah, no, for sure. And here's one from we got the Chris talking. Basically, be practical is 90% of the times better than CGI. I wholeheartedly agree with that, talking about the effects like the hedge animals and everything.
Yeah.
And then Jack throws one out here. And, dude, I'm not going to lie. I love this idea. Do you think you guys perhaps will do a movie commentary series, different King movies / TV shows, similar to what you did with the Dark Tower film? I love that episode. I'm not going to lie. If we just took 1, maybe 2 movies a year and threw them into episodes for commentaries, I'd be totally down with that.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to just do a whole series based off of that and just burn through everything that's out there, good and bad. But if we took, hey, this year, what are the 2 movies we want to do, Tad?
Yeah.
Like, if we want to do 1 movie next year, what would it be for you?
Me
and you sitting down, film commentary.
I don't know. There's a lot of options.
There is.
I mean, there is going to be part of me that's going to say The Mist.
That one would be phenomenal to do together.
Just to watch you just get the anger and the darkness
What if we
rising inside of you.
What if we left it up to fan vote?
Yeah, we could do that too.
Like have them vote on it for a month beforehand, and then me and you sit down. Don't watch the movie beforehand. Haven't watched it for a while, maybe, and then sit down and turn it on and commentate away.
That makes me nervous. Usually commentary, you want to be somewhat prepared to what you're going to say and stuff. So not watching it cold,
Nah. Come in Peter style, not having your head above sand. You got to keep it below ground to be able to give your fresh perspective on things.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, either way, I think it would be interesting for sure. I mean, the only downside is if we do it, you're usually not hearing the movie. You're just watching the movie.
For sure.
And that means you can't hear Mrs. What's-Her-Name.
We're okay with that. we're okay with that.
Yeah, that's
fuck that lady.
Yeah, she's definitely one of your favorites. I know that.
One
for sure.
that we will never be allowed to do. We can't do Creep Show.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, Romero, King, like it just seems like a natural thing.
Mainly because I don't want to hear you guys hear me whimper and break down and curl up in the fetal position on the floor and start crying. That monkey, dude, I get nightmares thinking about that thing.
Yeah, he's an adorable little fella, that's for sure.
The hell? See, that's why I'd say #Tad is terrible. There's nothing adorable about that monkey.
In your eyes.
In anyone's eyes. Like, come on.
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? All right. Anyone else looking to call in? I'm not sure. I didn't get a ton of feedback in terms of people that were going to tell me they were going to call in or not. I had a couple for sure, but definitely not a ton. So I wasn't. I'm not sure exactly what to expect with the episode today. But no, it's definitely some good conversations. So what other movies would come to your mind in terms of who did a commentary?
Shawshank is the one that first.
Shawshank was one of the first that came to mind. Yeah, in terms of for sure.
And I'm not gonna lie, I would love to do some of the lesser. I'm not gonna call them lesser King movies because they're not bad movies.
Yeah.
But Cujo, how much fun would that be for me and you to sit down and watch Cujo and comment on it?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at his list of movies here. Let's see. Kind of going backwards here. 1408 you haven't seen. I mean,
Still haven't seen
I wouldn't want to do a commentary.
You still think that we went and saw that in theaters?
I swear to God, I don't know.
But we didn't.
I don't know who the fuck I went and saw it with then.
Not me.
I mean, that was 2007.
Wasn't me.
That's a bizarre thing there.
Yeah.
Let's see. Dreamcatcher, Secret Window, Green Mile, Apt Pupil. That's a really good one.
Haven't seen it and haven't read it.
Really?
Nope.
Oh man, that's got Ian McKellen in it
as a Nazi.
Yes,
that's the only thing I know about. That's the only thing I know about that show.
Yeah. Let's see. Just kind of going through here. Misery. I still need to watch Castle Rock for God's sake. I gotta get that started.
And then
soon.
I started up Man in the High Castle, and it's just shit.
Yeah, I need to jump on that. Speaking of Misery, Pet Cemetery, the original.
Okay,
that'd be a good one. I mean, I'm just looking at some the jump out.
We got Carrie.
Yeah,
can't go wrong with a prom massacre.
Yeah, indeed. Stand by Me.
Oh, that would be a fun one to do.
Yeah. Maximum Overdrive.
I don't even know what that show's about.
Pure King, man.
I have no idea what it's even
basically
about.
when you bring King and cocaine together, you get Maximum Overdrive.
Okay. All I know, the only thing I know about that movie, the only thing I know about it is that King directed it, right?
I know he wrote it.
He wrote it. He wrote it.
Yeah, I'm not sure about
And then like the whole soundtrack is just AC/DC.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yes. Silver Bullet.
Werewolf.
Get some werewolf action. Firestarter.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Drew Barrymore.
Yeah.
Young kid.
Children of the Corn.
Ugh.
That's it's a creepy one for sure.
Yeah.
Then you got like Cujo, Christine, Creepshow, The Shining, and Carrie, like the batch of the first movies.
Christine.
Yeah, Christine. That's a good
John
one.
Carpenter.
Yeah. There's a lot of options. I mean, and that's skipping some of the less obvious ones, which might be worth doing. Gerald's Game is not less obvious, but it's one I skipped because it was more recent. I kind of bunny hopped over all the more recent ones.
We also got It Chapter 2. Doctor Sleep,
1922, in the Tall Grass.
Yeah.
Definitely the New Pet Cemetery. We had an episode on that, but we didn't necessarily do commentary on it. But yeah, it's definitely an option for sure. But no, I'd never really considered doing film commentaries if there's
a want for that, I'm totally down. That would be fun to have like a, not necessarily like a third type of episode, well, fourth type. We have Unfound Doors, book clubs, and roundtables, but
I feel like it's just an unfound door, right?
Honestly, that's what it would be.
Because if you're not doing Dark Tower, you're going into another realm of Kings
for sure.
So just doing the movie side instead of the book side.
Travis says in the chat that King did direct Maximum Overdrive.
Okay, I remembered he wrote it because like I was just listening to a thing on a podcast that was talking about writing and like authors that do or don't write their own scripts off their books.
Oh, okay.
Because apparently the Harry Potter lady did the newest,
J.K. Rowling,
the newest two things, the non-Harry Potter,
the
movies.
prequels.
I actually didn't know about that, so it's just funny that like in my head, like writers that adapt their own scripts are was fresh on my mind, but I forgot that he had directed it.
Ryan asked in the chat, is the Mandalorian the Roland of Star Wars?
Yeah, I think really good. I mean, the new episode is called The Gunslinger.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I still have not had a chance to watch it
yet. Yeah. So like opening, because like outside of the first episode, they've given you the title right at the beginning, and it's The Gunslinger. I was like, okay.
All right.
I'm down with that. I am down with that. Yeah, I'm really loving that show, Ryan. I think it's
so good.
Yeah, they've done a good job. I'm really sad that we're more than halfway to the end of it for season 1. So season 2 is in the works, but yeah, it's one of those that's definitely going by too quickly for me. I'd love for it to I don't know, just keep going. Just never stop. Just
hook it to my veins.
Yeah, just keep going. Let's go like the old like 1950s and 60s when seasons were like 50 episodes long.
Chris asked in the chat, so Baby Yoda is Jake?
Yes. Oh man, yes, indeed. Okay, anybody else looking to call? We got a few people in the chat. I don't know if I guess that's the only people that are hearing to know for sure. But yeah, I think there's a couple good options in here. I mean, there is part of me that's a complete fucking lunatic and thinks that you could even add series in there and go like It or The Shining or the.
Oh no, that totally the Stand miniseries. It we could go totally insane and do like a really long episode watching The Stand all the way through.
That'd be a shitload of minutes.
We may take a break halfway through to get food or something.
Yeah,
or just have it delivered and just have you leave while we pause the show and I just ramble on for 5 minutes and then we eat while we talk.
Yeah, intermission. I think you'd have to go to intermission. That'd be the best way to do it.
Travis says to do The Stand.
Yeah, I think The Stand, dude, that actually seems really titillating to me. Because I really love...
Especially before Josh Boone's comes out.
Yeah.
Like, that would be a lot of fun, dude. I'm not going to lie. That sounds like a lot of fun.
359 minutes.
Well, that's it?
That can... And for human beings that speak in hours, that's 5.9 hours.
So 6 hours.
Yeah, 6 hours, pretty much.
Whew.
Yeah, that's
Woo!
I
We'd
think
have to start earlier,
I think
that's for sure.
Yeah, I think that's a two-parter. I think that's got to be.
Break it up into two.
Yeah, I think you have to, right?
Do we want to call it? Do we want to put it on the docket? Do we want to pencil it?
I'll pen it in.
You want to pen it in?
I'm,
We'll do 2 parts before the series hits. When's the series hitting?
I don't know.
Sometime next year, right?
I think so. I don't think that they've fully announced anything too heavy yet. I think last I read, I think it's still saying 2020, but I don't think they've ever actually announced a date. I think it's more just like it's what people are saying. Just like Dark Tower right now. If you go on IMDb, Dark Tower says 2020. So yeah, 2020.
You want to do
know.
it?
Yeah, I'm
Back-to-back episodes.
I'm totally down. I mean, I'm not even saying that we don't have to just. We could even kind of do them together, but just have a break in between. Go grab food.
I'm okay.
Just something to break it up a little bit, and then come back and do them. One jumbo. That'd be the longest thing we've ever done, certainly.
For sure. For sure. Are we setting a record in 2010? Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I can't remember our first longest episode was. It was 4 hours and change. I can't remember what episode that was.
That was recent.
No, that we had one recently. It was 3 something.
No, we broke that record. We totally did.
I don't know.
We had one of our episodes recently where we went long.
Yeah. Yeah, Jack, thank you for bringing that up. I actually kind of forgot about that. I usually try to bring up the things I say on Twitter on the show to ask. But I said basically favorite background characters or minor characters is what I said. So basically a minor character, I find it hard to define, but it can't be someone that's minor. I guess the best way I said, I think I said on Twitter was they have to be minor even to the book that they're in. So someone like Callahan is
not a minor.
He's
character.
minor to the whole series, but he's not minor to the book that he's in.
Yeah.
So he can't count because I don't want
Books.
him. I don't want. I don't know. I can't think of. I mean, I know everyone's gonna say Mordred, but I don't want that. Like I want. The death stare before the shake of the head was
Hashtag Tad is terrible. My God, you earned that
that's
one.
what I live for.
God.
Is that slight second of like just pure hatred in your eyes.
God.
That's what keeps me going. So yeah, like Ryan says TikTok man. Let's see. Yeah. So what in terms of what's your thoughts on that then? Like I'd say like Brown and Zoltan, like that's a minor character.
I always love the Jaffords.
Okay.
The mom and dad, Jaffords, Tia, and I can't remember the wife's name off the top of my head, but Tia Jaffords, the one who has the courage to say, "Hey, you know what? Fuck it, enough is enough. Like,
yeah,
we got to do something." That guy, I always liked him. I always liked. Oh shit.
I love Aunt Talitha. She's one
Yeah.
that I like a lot. Moses Carver is also one I love a lot.
Moses was dope as shit. I like Moses. What was his name? Up in Maine, book 6 that saves Eddie's and
John
Roland's
Callum?
ass. Cullum.
Is it?
Yeah, he was my favorite in that entire book.
Okay.
I mean, aside from Eddie, because
Yeah.
Eddie is the best.
I mean Jack Andolini I like a lot.
You like Andolini?
For what he is. Like, I mean, for the role he has to play. Yeah. Like, I can't lie and say that I wasn't excited as fuck when he shows back up later in the series. I mean, how many times we see him die?
Twice.
But yeah, he's one that comes to mind. I'm just thinking in book 2.
Wait, once. Andolini only dies once.
Does he not die in the shootout in Maine?
No. He gets arrested.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's basically the same thing.
You're dead.
Oh, yeah. So I'm trying to think. Book 4.
We got a couple in the chat here.
Book 4 would be an interesting one because, like, there's a lot of characters in that. There isn't a lot of minor characters because most of the characters that are in that are kind of big for the story. I mean, you'd have to go kind of deep cut. I was like, none of the coffin hunters, Rhea,
Aunt Cordy.
No, like all of them were such big characters.
I always liked the mayor's wife. Felt bad for her.
Okay.
I always liked her. There's a couple of the chat here. TikTok man Ryan said, the Chris said Zoltan. Travis said Slow Mutant number 4. He was the best. Missionkin said Rando. Ryan said Dandelo. Fimolo and Fumolo. Sorry on the spelling. No worries.
Yeah, Dandelo is one that it would strike for me too. I love Dandelo a lot. Book 4, I think. Yeah, you were talking about The Mayor's Wife is a good one. Honestly, I'll throw it out there for that. For actually maybe. What about Stephen Deshane? Is he ever a major character in any portion of any of the books? He
went through the keyhole.
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Pivotal character for Went Through the Keyhole.
Yeah.
Can't deny that one.
Yeah, but I love, like, before that even came out, like, I've always loved Steven a lot, and you barely see him. Like, he's very minor.
I'm with you on Steven being a minor character. I think he would be minor. Is Court a minor character?
No, I think I actually pointed Court out as you can't pick him, because I feel like even if he's not there a lot, like, I feel like he weighs really heavy on Roland, maybe even more than his father.
David.
Like, in terms of, yeah, David would be one.
David would be one.
Yeah. But like Cuthbert definitely couldn't be, because I just didn't want it to turn into a thing where everyone's just saying like Cuthbert, Alan, Susan, like all these characters that are not
the supporting cast.
Yeah, not supporting, but
the
like
background almost characters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
The one that when you have a scene in Tull where Roland's talking to someone, yes, they may talk with him, but really we're looking at the ones that are in the background of that shot.
What about the preacher woman? I'm just blanked. Sylvia Pittston.
No.
Interloper.
It's the interloper. Ugh, that woman.
Yeah. There's a lot of good ones, but I think that's kind of one of those ones that the way I asked on Twitter was, there's times that you're going through the story and you're just maybe not even remembering a character, then they pop up and you're just like super excited to see them again type thing. And that's kind of what I was thinking of when I came up with the question. And that's why I was like, I want it to be minor. I don't want it to just be like a bunch of Cuthberts. And
surprised you don't like the shop owner in book 5.
Shop owner,
the one who hates all of them and is like, don't let that bumbler in my shop.
You're not talking Calvin Tower?
No, book 5 at the.
Book 5. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm thinking 6.
Yeah, the Took.
Yeah,
it's like Ebony or Ebony Took.
Yeah, Andy the robot is pretty awesome.
No,
I love the defeat.
I liked Benny Slightman, the younger, not the older. The elder.
Yeah,
fuck that guy.
Yeah, there's some good ones. I think the series is populated a lot with a lot of cool characters that don't show up very often. I'm trying to think. There was some others that were just coming to mind.
Jack had one. The preacher guy, Harrigan in New York.
Yeah,
give me a God bomb.
Yeah,
say God bomb.
Yeah. There's I think a lot of it for me. A lot of my favorites are ones that we find in our world.
Yeah.
In whatever versions of our world that we end up finding them, there's a lot of good ones for sure. Trying to think if there's any others that come to mind. But yeah, I don't know. It's just a good question. I usually try to throw them out to get your answer and talk about on the show.
That's because everyone in Roland's world just wants to kill the fuckers. Like, they just want to kill everyone. So
yeah,
it's kind of hard to root for anyone in Roland's world. I mean, look at book 3. You literally meet the nice people of River Crossing, and then an entire town of Ludd that just wants to murder them.
Yeah, indeed.
So,
and we have Chris from Australia on the line.
Hi guys, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Hey, Chris.
Yeah, very well. Very well. We've got a beautiful sunny day here in Melbourne.
It's
Sunday morning, and I've been listening to you guys on and off a little bit while I've been driving around, but I'm back at home now. So
yeah,
awesome.
So I call it have a bit of a chat.
Yeah, how's it going?
Yeah, very well, very well. I was just looking on I'd never used Skype basically, but when I opened it up, so it was 2 years ago that I rang in and we talked about the timeline that time. So
yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I literally signed into Skype last night to test it with Tad to see like volume levels and everything like that. My last call was to test for the last time we used Skype.
I'm the same. I hardly ever use it, but yeah. So that was 2 years ago. You said.
Yeah.
That's great.
16th of December, 2017. So,
oh wow. So almost to the day, pretty close. But that's nuts.
Yeah,
that doesn't.
We were talking about doing another sort of show when I did those maps and stuff, but I think life got the better of all of us and it didn't happen. But here we are now, so that's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Time slips. There's no way that feels to me like it's been 2 years. That feels like maybe a
Dude.
year.
Yeah.
Like maybe, but like
Well, when you look at it from the show's perspective, it is about a year if you put the shows together weekly.
Yeah.
But since they're bi-weekly, it's so hard. Like I've slipped many times on the podcast. Like, yeah, last week when we were talking. 2 weeks ago when we were talking.
Yeah. Yeah, I was listening to a show and I was just realizing how high their number count was. I'm like, oh yeah, but they're doing it weekly.
Yeah.
So that does change
Makes a big
things.
difference.
Yeah.
Makes
So
a big difference.
you're working on a new project. I'm not gonna ask for any details, but you are still working on a new project that you teased a few times.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a busy year, but next to me I've got.
Four people in chat, so Peter counts as one. Travis has spoken up.
Hear myself in a distant voice.
So it's funny. Just even before we start the show proper for the YouTube stuff. So I got an email.
Is that us?
Recently, where it's like, "Oh, your video was."
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure what happened there. I think I accidentally restarted the show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
on my screen. I might just remove that tab so that can't happen again.
No worries.
Sorry about that. Yeah, no, I've got a project that I'm working on at the moment. I've got 26 pages of notes and 2 large poster boards sitting next to me. Yeah.
Oh, is that all? 26 pages.
So with that, like, when you have poster boards, you just like go with like a Sharpie and just like rough draft type, like
basically, yeah.
Okay, I was curious of the process on that because sometimes I look at whether it's one you've done or there's a few others out there where I'm just like, I don't even get how you would start. Like I get like overwhelmed just at a glance.
Yeah,
So
yeah. I mean, it's hard to even imagine how that all works, but somehow it's come together in the past. So I'm hoping it will again this time. But I think it should be good if I can make it work. What I've got in my mind is exciting, but I guess I'm more of a data visualizer rather than artist, I guess. So I'm trying to do something a bit more artistic this time, and maybe it'll pay off, maybe it won't. But anyway, we'll see how we go.
Awesome.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You haven't even told me anything about it, so I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, he's just teased a little bit. Is
Yeah.
all. So I'm looking forward to whatever comes of that.
Yeah, I think I said to you on Twitter, Tad, that it was 2 letters, and you guessed, oi, it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
RF, I think, ran the flag, and something.
Naturally,
Anyway.
sounds like me.
And one of the things you guessed was right. So so we'll see how that pans out.
That's awesome.
I watched
Interesting.
El Camino last night.
Oh, awesome. What'd you think?
I enjoyed it. It was sort of a nice little coda to Breaking Bad. It certainly wasn't necessary, I didn't feel, but it was just great to see Aaron Paul back in the Pinkman character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just totally on board with what you guys said a show or two ago about he can still pull off Eddie Dean.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he can. Oh yeah, he can.
Absolutely.
That the first half where he's still like literally has just driven away in the El Camino and is completely he's so suffering from PTSD.
Yeah.
That first hour is just mind numbing, his performance.
Oh yeah.
So just put him in Midworld, and it would be amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So are you a pretty big Breaking Bad fan then? I'm not sure if I've ever asked you before.
I've watched it twice. I watched it sort of. We did a catch up on about the first 3.5 seasons, I think. We just watched it so quickly, and then we had to wait week by week and season by season to see the rest of it.
Yeah.
And about a year after it finished, I went back and watched it all again. That was great. I think it's when you're looking at the overall package, I reckon it's probably the best television I've seen ever. I love it.
Yeah.
There's just so much going on, but it got me thinking. What do you guys think? It's so stylistic, and I've been enjoying mental blank the lawyer guy.
Better Call Saul.
Loving that.
Yeah, me too.
But again, so stylistic. Do you think Vince Gilligan could pull off some Dark Tower television?
Oh, I mean, I would. I'd love it. Yeah, I mean, definitely his quote unquote house style that he usually establishes with his shows definitely have a very flashy look in the way it's shot and stuff. And but yeah, I mean, I think that like just the way he deals with characters in both Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, I think would be interesting as hell to see him tackle anything Dark Tower or Stephen King for that matter. But
yeah, I was gonna say there's definitely a question on if he would be best suited for Dark Tower or just something else Stephen King. But instantly, obviously, I mean, I want the best of the best doing Dark Tower because that's what I foremost think would make the most amazing type of series. But there's other things that I could think of with Vince Gilligan that would be so much fun to watch with him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I'm going to trust anyone to remake Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah,
I'm not going to lie, dude. Give me not a movie, Shawshank, but give me a series, Shawshank. I'd do it. I would do it if it was Vince.
Yeah, and Chris, I don't know if you missed that from earlier. We were basically talking the idea again of having adaptations pop up kind of regularly, even if they're good movies before, you know?
Oh, yeah. Like Disney does every 10, 20 years.
Yeah. But, you know, I do. I love Vince Gilligan a lot, and I'm a pretty big believer in what he's done. I mean, I feel like El Camino, in a lot of ways, kind of was something for him to prove because he'd kind of proven that he can do what he can do in television.
Mm-hmm.
But to do a movie, basically, which is a whole different can of worms, you know, I was curious if he'd be able to pull it off. And I mean, I think he did fantastic. I thought it was more cinematic in a lot of ways. I just felt just the way the story panned out was different than you would see from a TV show. So I think at this point, he could probably do anything.
Yeah.
No, it was great to watch. So I wanted to bring up a few like Randall Flagg discussion points, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
I know the Chris, OG Chris has already has revisited that, but I approach it from a little bit of I guess a tangent. I was listening, and everyone needs to listen to Palaver with Tad. It's a great podcast, and it's kind of nice because you can listen to it in any order. You know, you look at the menu and go, oh yeah, I think I'd like to listen to what Tad has to say about the Terminator series. So you just click on that, or Game of Thrones, or whatever it happens to be. And recently you were talking about one of my great loves, the Book of Mormon musical.
Yes.
Which is a phenomenal series show. And along the way you mentioned Wicked, which is another musical. For those who don't know, are you a fan of Wicked, Tad?
I've actually never seen it. I'm actually excited that it was supposed to be this year. They're actually finally doing a film of that, kind of based off of the musical. And it was supposed to drop this year, but it got postponed. But it was on my list for this year of like, I can't wait to see that, because I've never seen it, unfortunately. I'm not sure if it's made its way through Utah, or if it has, I wasn't available, unfortunately. But definitely one I want to see, because that's up there as one of the better musicals of our time for sure, outside of maybe Book of Mormon.
Yeah, it's a pretty phenomenal show, and it's well thought out. But I thought you might have seen it, because I'm just thinking back to your the Great Flag debate, and I don't really want to put my penny down one side or the other, but Peter, your argument for Flag being the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it was primarily based on, facts. Whereas Tad, your argument was what I'm going to dub the Wicked argument. For those who don't know, Wicked is the story of the witches of the Wizard of Oz, and sort of looks back on the childhood of those witches, and it really shows that, the Wicked Witch of the West was really just a poorly understood young girl, and she had a hard time because she was born green and things like this, and she was bullied, and really she wasn't that wicked. She was really a nice person. And it seems to me, Tad, your whole argument boils down to, well, despite the fact that in every book it's like made really obvious that Flag is the bad guy, but maybe we're just misinterpreting that.
Yeah, I was definitely saw where you were going with that with Wicked, but definitely a way of looking at it from a different perspective for sure.
Yeah, if you're drunk. Sure. Yeah, Gary Oldman character in The Professional. Yeah, he's just a cop trying to make his way, in the tough world. Sure. We can look at it from a different perspective. No, a bad guy's a bad guy. I mean, come on.
Definitely you're more of a white hat, black hat type. I'm more of gray hats.
Like I understand blurring the lines of morality and stuff like that. I mean, I'm a Batman fan, for God's sakes. But at the end of the day, we're talking about someone who's like, yeah, let's murder people just because they annoy me. So, yeah, I mean, come on.
Yeah, I suppose, but yeah, even earlier it's funny because you were talking about how you just weren't a Darth Vader fan. To me, that's unfathomable because he was my favorite character in Star Wars.
He's the bad guy. I mean, why would you root for him?
I saw some on Twitter where someone's like, well, they were said something being concerned about their kid, where kids are playing out in the neighborhood and they were playing Star Wars and one kid is playing Vader and whatever, and I'm just yeah, that was me. I wanted to be Darth Vader, Boba Fett, Shredder, the Green Power Ranger before he sold out. For everything. I always wanted to be the other side of things. Everyone else is I want to be Luke Skywalker. I'm no, none of that. So
Jeez.
it's interesting to me with that. But yeah, no, I definitely want to see it, Chris. Is the cast recording album, is that something that's readily available?
Oh yeah.
And is that something that's good to listen to, having not seen the show? I feel like Book of Mormon, you can kind of just listen to the cast recording and you can kind of get a sense of the whole story. Is that the same with Wicked?
Not really, no.
Okay.
I enjoy the cast recording, but it's when I eventually saw the show, the cast recording made heaps more sense, and I understood a lot more about sort of what was going on. And so initially, when I heard it, I sort of just had it on the background and all the songs sounded the same, which I don't think you could say for Book of Mormon.
Okay.
Once you've seen the show, though, all the songs, make a lot more sense. So,
okay.
But anyway, that was more just sort of a segue into the whole Flag thing. And I guess something that you Tad, haven't come out and said, but I think it's okay to root for the bad guy. I mean, that's why we have bad guys.
Yeah. Oh,
that's why they're there. Sometimes you look at a character and go, okay, no redeeming features, but other times, for someone complex like Flag, it's well, yes, he's a bad guy, but he's a really fascinating character. And I was wondering, have you guys read Eyes of the Dragon?
Not yet.
No, I actually haven't read that one yet either. I've kind of held off on that one. I want to coordinate with Peter and read it around the same time and maybe do an episode on it. Was my hope.
Yeah, because it's a really, well, I loved it. It's a really, really good story. But in it, Flag is said, unequivocally, he is the bad guy. He's an evil person.
So like all the other stories.
But it's written sort of like a fairy tale. So, it's like, the big bad wolf sort of thing. It's there's no question that he's presented as the bad guy. But conversely, another book where Flag appears is recently King and Richard Chismar released Wendy's Button Box, which is another one that I don't think you've read, yeah?
No, I haven't read that one yet.
And that's just a novella. The character in it is called Richard Farris, but it's been confirmed by Chismar that that's Randall Flagg. And He is presented as just a strange, interesting fellow in a black suit and a bowler hat. And, is it Flag or isn't it Flag? And people have sort of said, it's really out of character to have Flag in that role. But what's interesting, and I wasn't a huge fan of the book, but it's certainly worth reading just purely from the Flag perspective. A whole bunch of things happen, and I don't want to give away any spoilers, but it's like, well, the main character Gwendy is sort of saying, "Oh, I wish these certain things never happened." But then the Flag character Richard Farris sort of goes, "Well, no, that's actually that was actually a good thing, and this was a good thing, and everything seemed like a good thing, and so it was all really okay." And the book finishes on kind of a high. It's like, yeah, well, Gwendy's growing up and she's going to be happy and she's had this experience, and the Flag character has sort of helped her have that experience, and it's all really been quite positive. But all you have to do is just twist in your mind and go, no, this is actually Randall Flagg, and he's basically lying. And in fact, he's like, everything he's done is completely dreadful. So it's it's an example where the Flag character is like hugely nuanced and yeah, so it depends a lot on how you view it. And there it's the wicked the wicked argument is probably quite a legitimate one. It's like, well, yeah, well, it could be this way, or it actually could be that way, and the book is written in such a way as it could be really ambiguous. So it's certainly worth a look.
Interesting. Yeah, I definitely we'll have to get Eye of the Dragon going sooner than later, and definitely want to read that too. Got to get all the Flag we can, but yeah, I think that ultimately he's definitely one of King's better creations because he is so nuanced and so just, I don't know, there's a lot to him, and that's something I always enjoy because there's nothing worse than like a two-dimensional bad action movie villain to me.
Exactly.
But that's awesome. I definitely I'll have to add those to the list. And like I said, I wanted to get Peter with Eye of the Dragon to read at the same time. I think that'd be fun for an episode and talk about it. But maybe because we talked about doing book clubs that are older, so we can definitely add that to the list of possibilities for 2020.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You've certainly got an awful lot of untapped potential here. There's many years of podcasts for you still to make.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's funny because you brought up Book of Mormon because it's getting close to the end of the year, so Spotify has their whole thing for the year. Do you use Spotify at all, Chris?
No, I don't use Spotify, but I know. I think I know where this is going. I had it on my iTunes, which lists how many plays.
Oh, okay.
And it was like the entire cast album was just the top 12 slots or something for about a year or something like that.
Yeah. For me it was so my top artist most listened to was the Beatles. Then after that it was I have some soundtrack ones. So Ramin Djawadi from Game of Thrones, John Williams, Thomas Newman, and then Josh Gad is the last one. I'm like, that's a strange one. And then my top songs, You and Me, but mostly me, Hasadiga Ibawai, All American Prophet, Hello, and 2x2. Literally my entire top list is just Book of Mormon.
Those are all Book of Mormon songs.
Yeah. So
I've songs, and I was really pleased that you played on Palaver with Tad the you just mentioned it. I remember. I forget the name, but the one of the All American Prophet.
Yeah.
You closed out with that.
Yeah.
And the first time I saw the musical, I was like, I wasn't hugely enamored with the first half compared to the second half.
Yeah.
But on subsequent viewings, I suppose, whatever you call it when you see a musical more than once, I actually preferred the first act, and that song in particular I thought was possibly the highlight of the first act. It really summed up so much about religion in general and belief systems, which I'm very interested in. and it's just a great song. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but the original version of that song was I think it was called "The Bible is a Trilogy."
Yeah.
It segued into the final version, but if you go on YouTube, someone's put together a sort of, using clips from South Park. They put together a little video clip of The Bible as a Trilogy, and it's interesting to have a listen to it and see how things evolve from that into the final song.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed. I mean, there's part of me I loved seeing it on stage for sure, but there's almost part of me that wishes it would stop making so much money so they could make a movie, because they pretty much have to pull the plug on it, touring to get a movie done. But yeah, it just seems like they're not interested in that at this point because they're just making so much money. It's like one of the most profitable musicals of all time. It's pretty insane.
Well, it's still going around Australia, and we've only got about like 5 moderately large cities in the entire country,
Yeah.
It was in Melbourne for about 2 years, then it was in Sydney for a couple of years, and I think it's now in Brisbane or something like that. So, it's just a money-making machine for those guys, seriously.
Yeah, I think I looked it up, and I think that it's something like 570 million that show has made. Like that's like movie level. Like even a movie would be happy to have that. Like,
God, yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, it's nuts. But yeah, I'm glad you mentioned it for sure, because yeah, that's a lot of fun. And I love on the Palaver Tad, just a lot of times I'll try to throw something at the end, just a song. We don't really do that on this show. We did it for the Behind Blue Eyes on Dark Tower Palaver. I threw that song a couple times at the end of an episode, but yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun, and that show has been a lot of fun. If I wasn't building my computer last week, I definitely would have done an episode. I want to talk, I don't know, maybe it's too new, but Knives Out has absolutely got me over the moon.
Okay.
Might be one of my favorite movies of the year, actually. So I'm literally looking forward to talking about that at some point.
Yeah, very good. So speaking of movies and Flag, because I did tell you I wanted to talk all things Flag.
Yes.
So we've currently got in the pipeline 4 different, either in the pipeline or in the past, 4 different movie or TV personifications of Randall Flagg. And there's another one on the way, as yet unmentioned. So we've got, was it Jamie Sheridan?
Yeah.
From the original Stand.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I've since seen since last speaking to you and thoroughly enjoyed. We had Matthew McConaughey in the movie, and then we've got Alexander Skarsgård in the new Stand. We've got Jasper Porkonen in hopefully the new Dark Tower TV series.
Yep.
And the Eyes of the Dragon is still apparently a work in progress at Hulu. So there's 5 different personifications of one character. I'm just wondering, you guys are the movie guys. Are there other like fictional characters that have appeared, apart from James Bond, with so many different actors portraying that character?
Yeah, I think Bond is going to be up there. Batman.
Superman.
Not even Superman. There's only 3 guys that have
4?
done that. On the big screen.
Well, yeah, but we're not just talking big screen here for Randall Flagg, so we got to include TV shows if we're doing that.
Yeah, in that case, then maybe Superman comes close then.
Because there's been multiple series with Superman.
Yeah, but no, it's certainly a rare thing for. I mean, I apart from historical characters, someone like JFK or Nixon has probably been portrayed oodles of times.
Yeah.
I guess
Lincoln,
so, but not as a major character, really.
Yeah.
Not the same character across different stories, but like for instance, we have Lincoln, which is the drama with Lincoln, and then there's Lincoln, the Vampire Slayer, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer, not the same character, but same person per se. So
yeah, I don't know if there's any other I can think of that. That's interesting. I don't know. I'd say lower ones for sure, but I think that Flagg is jumping in the pool at the deep end. I mean,
we've had 3 different Spider-Mans in the last 20 something years. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, I've seen a lot of these MCU movies and other comic book adaptations, but it's not something I really jive with. So I'd actually forgotten about all those. But
Yeah.
of course there are heaps of Batmans and Supermans and Spider-Mans like that. So.
Number one probably on the list would probably be Michael Myers, who's been played by a bunch of different people.
behind a mask.
You know,
Jack Ryan now has got a couple under his belt.
3.
So
Jack Ryan.
You got what's the first movie before Harrison Ford?
There was a movie before Harrison Ford.
God, what's his name? It's Hunt for October, right?
Is that a Ryan movie?
I'm pretty sure.
I think it is.
Yeah, I think.
So we got that one. Harrison Ford in Clear and Present Danger, isn't it?
Yeah, you got Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck in Some of All Fears.
You got Chris Pine in the that's one that failed. It's on the end of my shelf there. And then you got Jim from The Office now
in the Amazon
Krasinski.
series.
Yeah. So he's
5 right there.
Yeah,
for him.
He's up there pretty high. But he's been around for how long? I mean, Flag for the screen purposes showed up in the early 90s
for The Stand. Yeah.
So it's a lot for a short period of time, and hopefully Gary Oldman works his way in there at some point.
Well, it is getting there with The Stand because, I mean, look at it. I mean, we're coming up on 2020 here. So you give it the same amount of time for... Well, no, Jack Ryan's on now with it.
Bond's 50 years, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. I don't... Just in terms of, like, Bond is what comes to my mind. And, like, I guess Batman you could add. You also have Adam West in 69.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a few that have... But they've taken a hell of a lot longer than, like, Flag jumping in the pool fairly quickly and getting up to 5 in a short order. In the time of maybe one, what's his name, Roger Moore era.
Yeah.
So who are you more excited about, Alexander Skarsgård, or Jasper Porkonen?
Jasper, simply because it's Dark Tower.
And see, for me, I'm going to say Alexander Skarsgård because I absolutely adored him in Generation Kill on HBO. And ever since I've watched that, and I watch it way late, I think I only watched a year or two ago. And he just blew my mind, and I was just like, ever since then I've been like, I want to see him in more stuff. And he did that stupid Tarzan movie, and I'm like, that's not what I meant. So I've kind of really been jonesing to see him more. And this is just like dream come true because now they're putting him in one of my favorite characters. So that's exciting for me. Outside of Gary Oldman, that might be like one of my favorite choices.
Before we get too far from it, there was 2 comments in the chat about the previous question. Jack says, I think Sherlock Holmes holds the record so many films and TV shows.
Oh, yeah.
And then also, OG Chris says Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Forgot about Doctor Who.
There's
a new Doctor every few, years?
Yeah.
I've never watched it, so.
What number are we on now?
8?
13.
Yeah.
13.
Yeah, one of my daughters is a huge Doctor Who fan, and so we were very excited when Jodie Whittaker became the 13th Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of Doctor Who's out there.
Yeah.
A lot of doctors. Sorry, they're not Doctor Who's. You've got to get it right.
I'll throw it out there for anyone if you're listening with Generation Kill. That's also got another connection to Stephen King. As the second lead in that is the adult Eddie, the germaphobe in the second It. Is it Eddie, the one with the mom? That actor is the second lead in Generation Kill. So you've got Flag and Eddie, and those two are both incredible. And I think he was one of the better ones in It Chapter 2. But yeah, he did. So Generation Kill, it's good show.
That's one that same character across many different iterations, many different actors. Dracula.
Oh yeah.
Going all the way back to Christopher Lee and even before into like the silent films.
1930s, yeah. Bela Lugosi.
We got your boy Gary Oldman playing him once.
Yeah, of course, best too. I mean, it's Gary Oldman.
Tad, am I correct in assuming you'd like to see Gary Oldman play any role?
Absolutely. But there's like a few that were kind of a short list for me. Like, I mean, I never would have put Churchill on a list because that doesn't make sense in my head. But it still was one of my, because I love Churchill historically. He's an interesting historical figure. And Flag is up there. And I don't know what else. But yeah, anything he's in is something I'm down for.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Very good.
Such a good actor.
Yeah, he's great. Do you have any other? You said you had some Flag topics. Is there any other?
Oh, look, I'll avoid probably the biggest can of worms. We might send that in as an email at some point. related to Flag, but I just wanted to shed some love on. I mean, I've been reading a lot of or listening to a lot of Stephen King, both since last we spoke. I'm interested to hear your list in a fortnight's time of what Stephen King books you've actually read. So I'm currently up to 45, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. So I think when I spoke to you last, I'd only done about 15. So
Oh wow,
that's awesome.
So doing well there, but you've often been saying, well, what else is there to adapt? And a few come to mind, but the one that far and away the book that I've been so blown away by, a more recent one, is Duma Key.
Okay,
it is an amazing book. I'd put it in my top 5, I'd say.
Right, you did.
And there's no adaptation in the works. And a lot of people on Twitter have been saying Mike Flanagan and Duma Key would be just a match made in heaven. And I really got to say that I think it would be, because it's another one of those ones that it's all about atmosphere and character development. And, a lot of, people would probably say, oh, it's not really filmable and stuff, but it is. And in the right hands, it would be amazing. But, if you're wondering what to read next, Stephen King listeners, I'd thoroughly recommend Duma Key. I'll give that so much love. It's a fantastic book.
Awesome. And honestly, there was that article we covered in our last episode where Mike Flanagan said he's talking to King about his next project, doing something King, and we were kind of perplexed. Maybe that's the one. Maybe.
Yeah, well, I'm really hoping so, because it's a terrific book, really good.
Yeah, and I honestly, for me, it comes down to just there's not a lot of possibilities because almost everything's locked up with someone, So yeah, that might be the one, because that's definitely not one that's on any list that I've heard. So yeah, that would be, and if it's like you're saying, like tonally and also maybe difficult to adapt, I think that's got his name written all over it.
Written all over it. That's what he's done so far.
Yeah, absolutely. That's become his signature. Oh my God, how good was Dr. Sleep?
Oh yeah, it blew me away. Like I actually can't remember if I said it on the last episode, but I think it might be my favorite King adaptation in a good while. I put it over the It movies.
You did.
Oh,
Did I say that? Okay, I couldn't remember if I did or not.
Oh, I don't know whether you said it, but that's my feeling. I agree. I mean, I love the It movies. But,
yeah, me too.
but
Yeah,
this was just in a totally different ballpark.
Yeah.
So hang on, that last episode where you geeked out over it was possibly one of my most enjoyable listens from you guys. It was, because I was just going, yes.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Yeah, I'm so bummed it didn't do well.
It would be amazing.
Okay, yeah, I'll have to add that. I think Peter might be adding it to his list.
I just did.
I was gonna say he's fiddling with his phone.
I literally just went and added From a Buick 8 because I've read that one before and it was good, and Duma Key to my Audible wish list. So
that's...
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, I listened to it. It's read by John Slattery.
Cool.
The guy from Mad Men.
Yeah.
Okay.
You Peter, you'd know him more as Tony Stark's dad.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah.
Howard.
Yeah, but yeah, Mad Men. He's one of my favorite characters in Mad Men. So
still haven't watched Mad Men.
He was amazing in Mad Men, and as I'm listening to it, I'm just picturing Roger Sterling the entire time. But
yeah,
he reads one particular character, Wireman, who's sort of the sidekick character, and just reads him so well, and I can just so picture him actually playing the role in an adaptation. I would love to see it. But no, the audio book is just out of this world. It's fantastic. So yeah, pop it on your Audible list.
Yeah, I will as well. I think I've got a couple credits I'm sitting on as well. So definitely have to do that. I'm. It's funny you mentioned him, and then Mad Men, of course, comes along with that, because I think like it was only 2 nights ago I fell down like a 2-hour YouTube hole of just watching Mad Men clips.
Oh, did you?
I think I've got to rewatch that show, because I was just like, oh look, and then it keeps giving you more like you may also like, and I'm like, yes I do, and I just kept watching.
Oh, let me just go down this rabbit hole instead of going down one of those YouTube rabbit holes where you start watching like a Watch Mojo on top 10 movies that would be ruined by having a smartphone. and ended up learning how to make French fries with cotton candy and marshmallows or something like that.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone down one of those YouTube paths where you're just like, what do you...
Yeah.
I've done that before with clips where it's just
YouTube roulette.
It's like, let me watch this, and then it's like, here's another another scene from this show. I did that once with The Office all day, just like constant, like, here's the one where Michael falls in the fish pond. Here's the one where Michael drives the GPS into the lake, and just like.
So, Chris, I'm curious because you mentioned like watching Breaking Bad and stuff. What's the release stuff like down in Australia?
Oh, look, it varies a lot. I mean, these days with streaming and everything, they generally try and keep things reasonably close. Like when I was a kid, we would get movies 6 months after you guys, and they'd be screened in like one cinema or maybe two, and you'd queue up around the block to get your tickets and things like this. But these days, like particularly HBO stuff, they try and do a simultaneous release with America.
Cool.
So a lot of like the Game of Thrones stuff became available at something like 2 p.m. on Monday afternoon. So that corresponded to Sunday night somewhere in the US.
Okay.
Things like that. I'm currently very much enjoying His Dark Materials, something I would thoroughly recommend to any viewers, HBO and BBC. And that's available like on Tuesday at 3 p.m. or something, which is like Monday night in the US, which is when it's released there. So they do simultaneous releases for a lot of stuff. Like I'm watching Shameless at the moment. Do you guys watch Shameless?
No, I haven't watched that one yet. It's on my list though. I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal show. We started watching it. I don't know, about 5 or 6 months ago, and there's like 9 seasons to catch up on, and we just watched it, just continuously. It's an amazing show, but that's currently at season 10, and we're about 2 weeks behind on that for whatever reason. It comes out in North America, and then about 2 weeks later it becomes available here. So sometimes there's a delay.
Okay. Yeah, I was just thinking because like recently there's been a lot online with like Disney Plus that hasn't launched in the UK yet. So things like The Mandalorian and stuff, everyone's just like, and I don't get why that's the case nowadays. Like I feel like with it, especially a streaming service, I don't know why it can't just be everywhere at once. Like it seems weird to me.
I know that British films are more strict when it comes to like ratings. So I don't know if it's an issue with like the ratings for like the movies. I know that nothing on Disney Plus is supposed to go above a PG-13, but when you come with original content, that may be its whole different can of worms for them.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know why you wouldn't get those ducks in a row and get it all released at the same time. I don't know. It just seems odd to me, and it's just something ever since then I've been thinking about a lot with like different people, different countries, and what it's like with releases and stuff.
Yeah, no, Disney Plus was launched here a week or two ago. It was like a couple of weeks after North America. Got one daughter who's very keen to have that signed up. But I mean, how many of these things do you sign up to? There's so many now.
Tad actually dropped a knowledge bomb on me.
All this sort of stuff.
Yeah, Tad actually dropped a knowledge bomb on me last time after we finished recording. He's like, "Yeah, man, I'm going to start cycling out my my streaming service. Go 6 months with HBO, go 6 months with Hulu, go 6 months with Netflix." And then it like stacks up the shows that he's going to watch, and then finish when there's not anything else, then move to the next one. And that way he's not spending money for services that he's not using.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to manage, It's just so many things that everyone's saying, "Oh, you've got to have this, you've got to have that." And But anyway, we get there. There's plenty of content out there, and it's certainly, prime time for TV shows and everything. It's just turned around since The Sopranos, basically.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now it's like, we're like, well, do we actually even want to watch a movie, or should we just find some new TV show that we haven't watched? It's just like an absolute goldmine of nuggets out there just waiting to be consumed and enjoyed.
Yeah. Honestly, you make a really good point, because literally I had that conversation with myself yesterday. So I do the laundry in the family because we live in an apartment, go down to the laundromat. And so I was like, oh, should I watch something? Should I keep listening to my book? What should I do? And I'm like, I'm kind of booked out. I've listened to a lot this week. It's like, oh, I'll watch something. And I was like, should I find a movie or should I there's a lot of movies out there that I should watch. And then I was like, no, I'm in a World War II mood. Yeah, let's go watch Men in the High Castle season 2 because I never finished the series. I stopped after season 1. And I was like, sure, I'll do that. And then it's like, then I remember that Tad's like, yeah, I uploaded a bunch of new movies onto my Vudu. And it's like, son of a bitch. When am I going to have time to watch those on top of The Man in the High Castle? I'm supposed to watch like Castle Rock season 2. I haven't watched that.
Yeah.
And there's just so much out there to watch.
Yeah.
No, so good.
Yeah, and I actually got to Google it just to make sure I wasn't crazy. But yeah, it looks like the UK doesn't get Disney Plus till March 31st.
Are you serious?
Yeah. That's
wow.
That's why I was wondering, Chris, because like I don't know, like how different it is, like on different sides of the world. But like, yeah, I heard that. I was like, that's insane. Like that's nuts to have that long.
Australia's pretty lucky in regard to that. We're in terms of internet uptake, we were like way ahead of the curve as well. A lot of this online stuff, we're not far behind you guys, which is great because it certainly didn't used to be the case, back in the sort of 80s and 90s and stuff like that. But in the new millennium, where we seem to be right pretty much on track with you guys. But God, just say March 31st in the UK for Disney Plus.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's crazy.
I don't get it. Like I said, maybe there is more behind the scenes that we don't understand. But like, yeah, I look at that, I'm just like, that's nuts. Like
Jack said, don't remind him about Disney Plus.
Oh yeah. I've got a few listeners here that's true, but it just seems weird to me. It just seems because like HBO, they went out of their way because like Game of Thrones is the most pirated show for almost 10 years, and so they try. I think they really made a concerted effort to make sure that their service is available worldwide and that Game of Thrones will be available at the same moment across the world because otherwise you're just going to get piracy. So just make it easy. So it's just weird to me that Disney would be so clunky with their rollout.
Can I just give you a quick anecdote about Game of Thrones in Australia?
Yeah.
So the exclusive rights for Game of Thrones here was through basically the only pay TV, traditional cable type service that we have. Like, cable TV never took off in Australia, really.
Oh, okay.
So we have one provider, and they got Game of Thrones. So they were essentially trying to get people to sign up to this, to their, cable/satellite type service, just to watch Game of Thrones. And you could get special deals to, just 3 months so that you could watch Game of Thrones. But they were still like insanely expensive compared to something like Netflix. So I said Australia's ahead of the curve in a lot of things. We were the number one country for most pirated downloads of Game of Thrones.
That's awesome.
The Armades.
Yeah, I mean, I just feel like it's one of those things like piracy in a lot of ways. Like it can be avoided by making your stuff available and easy. Like, because I feel like generally speaking, if things are easy to get, people won't pirate them. Even if that means like it's on Amazon and you could just pay $30 for the season or just something. If it's accessible, I believe a majority of people will pay for it. But I just if you put it behind all these different paywalls and all these different hoops, like suddenly then people are just going to go sail the high seas. Like
for sure,
that's the way it works.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I should probably go because I'm hoping there are lots of other people who want to call in and talk to you guys. And we've been chatting for 3/4 an hour according to Skype. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's, yeah.
Seriously?
It doesn't feel like it, but yeah, apparently, I mean.
Dang.
Well, yeah, thank you for calling, Chris. And it's always fun to talk to you. And yeah, I guess you've been with us since because we had that show about the timeline. So, you've been here since in between the last call and it hasn't been 3 years, but definitely good to talk to you.
Just about from the beginning. I think I started listening around sort of February, March of your first year like you started in October of some year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So you'd been going for about 5 or 6 months when I started listening, and it was because I was working on the timeline and I wanted sort of more information and more input. So I started seeking out, podcasts, and yours was the one that popped up. So I guess it was someone else. I might be listening to Dark Tower Radio or Dark Tower something else, but Palaver it is, and I'm very, very happy that things turned out that way. It's been great listening to you guys. You've given me a lot of support, so I really appreciate that. You put up with my, convoluted, extended emails that require you to spend an entire program discussing. So that's always fun.
I love them. Yeah, I love it. It's always great. That's just the kind of, you guys, I think everyone by now knows that's just who we are. If you didn't send the email, we'd probably end up in a conversation equally as long about something different. Probably that's just me and Peter.
So I did have one more question. It's a slightly personal one, and I totally understand if the answer is no. But Tad, I was just wondering if there was any chance that we might ever see a photograph of the collection.
Oh yeah, I actually thought about it because Peter brought it up on one episode, and I thought about throwing it on the show notes, but the picture I had was so out of date that I didn't do it at the time. But no, absolutely, I could do that. I got a whole stack I got on Black Friday that I need to get on the shelf still.
He's got 9 movies sitting on his desk, just sitting here. On top of that, I see there's the Stephen King, The Shining.
I pulled The
miniseries.
Shining off the shelf.
Pulled that off to take a look at it. There's another one over there that's just sitting out. There's one on his table over. He's just got them. They're everywhere. They're like, if you had cracks in here in the walls, I would think that you would fill them with movies that you don't watch very often. And by the way, I do have to give you shit about this because I give you shit about this all the time with your movies. How long have you owned The Shining miniseries DVD?
I don't know. It's probably at least 5 or 6 years.
It was still wrapped in fucking plastic. You had to take the plastic off to be able to open it and look at it today.
Hey, in this case, in my defense, I have pulled this off the shelf a number of times going, I think maybe I'll watch this.
And then you didn't.
No, then I didn't. But yeah, that's true. But yeah, I'll definitely get everything cobbled up on the shelves and then get some pictures taken and post it. Because I don't want to say it's my pride and joy, but it's definitely something I'm proud of. I love physical media when it comes to movies, and I'm starting to kind of collect some vinyl as well.
You are.
With music, but I'll definitely throw some pictures up of that. It's gonna have to be a few pictures because they're spread all over the place.
Well, that'd be great. It'd just be so amazing to see. But obviously, as I said, it's it is a bit of a personal thing too. So it's not something you necessarily want to share online. But it would be amazing to see. But anyway, you guys give so much of yourselves as it is. So thanks very much. I'm sure I'm speaking for everyone listening and saying we really appreciate all the effort you guys do to bring the show. Peter, I know what it's like having young kids, and it must be quite something to juggle all those responsibilities and work and still manage to find time to palaver with Tad and the rest of us for hours every fortnight. So thanks a lot for that.
You're welcome.
You have a really great winter break. I was going to say summer break, but that's in this.
For sure.
Yeah, you too, and definitely appreciate the kind words for sure, and everything you've brought to the program, both emails and all your cool creations, both Dark Tower and Stephen King.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks, guys, and everyone listening. Time to phone in. I'm signing out now, so we need some other callers.
Yeah, indeed. All right. Thank you, Chris.
See you later, guys. Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
So I'll definitely throw that on the show notes. I'll get I'll get everything put onto my shelf and shelves and get some pictures posted. Because I'm down to share. I don't think there's anything that's objectionable necessarily.
We got to get rid of this dead body over here first,
I mean, I do have the Jack Ryan movie. That's pretty bad. But
you got some on here that are not savory per se.
Like what?
Jack Ryan.
Yeah. Okay. I have to back up. Jack in the chat said, quick tangent on Dreamcasting. If we lived another level of the tower where the movies hadn't happened, I watched Us recently and think Lupita Nyong'o, I don't know how to pronounce her last name, would make an amazing Susan. And I mean, yeah, I agree. I love her. She's one of my favorites right now. She's incredible. I'm trying to think what else I saw her in recently, because I know she was in Star Wars, but that doesn't really count because she's not really visible. I'm trying to think what
it was something I watched.
Yeah, what was it?
You're like the chick that's in that is the one that I Bad Times at El Royale.
No, that's
someone different.
Yeah, that's.
I was gonna say you said that was your pick for Susan.
Yeah, so Star Wars. Black Panther. She's in Black Panther.
Oh, is she?
Jungle Book voice. 12 Years a Slave. Yeah, so a couple things. I'm guessing, and then Us. So yeah, she's done a few, but yeah, for me, Cynthia Erivo is definitely probably my top pick.
Okay.
And she's from Bad Times at the El Royale, which is a huge one. She was just recently in Harriet and also Widows not too long ago, and she is absolutely killing it. Everything I've seen her in, and I think she'd be an incredible. And she's going to be playing Holly Gibney in The Outsider, so there is that as well.
Nice.
So yeah, that's my pick. But yeah, I think that Lupita is obviously another amazing pick for sure for Susan. I think there's a lot. I think that in the time that we've been doing the podcast, even, I just feel like there's been more diversity in Hollywood and stuff, and I think that's allowed different actors to kind of get bigger.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, bigger names. And I think it's way easier now than it would have been when we started the show, for instance, to cast Susan. Because I feel like, or Susanna. I think Susanna, I mean, when we first started, maybe Zoe, or no, what's her name? Gamora / she was an Avatar.
Zoe Saldana?
Saldana. Okay.
Saldana? Is that how you say it?
Couldn't think of her last name. Like her, Saldana? I feel like most people would have just picked her back when we first started the show, because she's one of the few non-white actors that was had any kind of prestige at the time that would have fit right. I mean, there were some maybe that were like Halle Berry, that's like way out of the out of left field a little bit, but I think that there's a lot more now for sure. Let's see, going down the chat here. Sorry, Jack, about bringing up Disney Plus. And then he says, although don't worry, as Dr. Malcolm in Jurassic Park says, life finds a way. Indeed. As we've said, and honestly, I would not blame anyone. I would be pirating the fuck out of everything Disney Plus right now if I were in a place that was being deprived of it for that long. Like, if it was like a couple weeks or maybe a month, like, okay, I can handle that. But like March 31st,
that's almost 6 months away.
Go fuck yourself with that. Yeah, it's like, come on, really?
It's 4 months. 4 months. Sorry, my math is horrible.
I did see something though where it said like it was like somebody had like screen grabbed a tweet and they're like, oh, we had to wait this long for Disney Plus. Like, you should have won the revolution, the war. I was like, oh, that's that. I mean, I love it from the historical standpoint, but it made me chuckle. Yeah. So yeah, if anyone else wants to call in, getting close to. Close to the 3-hour mark, so it probably won't be going too terribly much longer. So if you want to call, give us a ring. Probably, I guess, call it last call for calls. But I do definitely want to do this again in the future. I think this is always a lot of fun. And I don't know, it's fun to talk to people, and it's different. I love emails, but emails can definitely feel different than calls and interactions and stuff. So, and I think the live chat's been kind of that next step past emails, but like closer to calls, but it is still text based. So, did I see your defense flag in the chat? I don't know that I did. The chat kind of blew past me a little bit further here. With regards to flag, you could argue he sees more of the picture than we do. Maybe if he's out of the loop, he can see more. And yeah, I think that's been more of my revelation over this last year, has just been like, just the thought that maybe is more conscious of it. And I feel like that really puts him in a way different perspective, because if he can, like, that's torture, like, what movie characters are there where people are put the same thing over and over, like Groundhog Day? Yeah. I mean, there's some bad stuff like that wouldn't be great. So, yeah, definitely. I didn't see that, but thank you for referencing it. Chris from Australia says, I recently reread Wizard and Glass, and Rhea really is one of my favorite King characters. Speaking of bad guys we love to hate.
I hate her.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure.
I hate her so much.
Yeah, but she is. I mean, she is. I do. I'm the same. I love to hate her. Like, because there are ones like that for me. Like, there's ones I love to hate, and there's just ones I love. Like, there's a difference for me. Because like, I don't know that ever I've been in a spot where like I hated Darth Vader. I just never have. I love him. But there are some that I love to hate, and yeah, like I think Eldred Jonas is the same way. I think I really enjoy hating him. But
he was definitely an enjoyable character to read about and deal with and worry about as a bad guy. You know, like, oh, what's he gonna do next? Oh, he's got the best of them. Oh, does he?
Yeah.
You know,
and I think it also adds more to or it gives us more of the mythology of gunslingers, right?
Yeah.
Like it shows you the other half. Like we saw Roland challenging Court and kind of getting the idea of what will happen if he fails.
Mm-hmm.
But then, a few books later, we see Eldred Jonas, and he actually shows what does that look like. And I find it interesting.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, it adds to the mythology and the world building, for sure. But I'm trying to think. Like, see Cordelia, can't fucking stand her. Like I don't know if I hate her as much as you hate the lady in the Mist, but it's damn close. I really hate Cordelia.
She's so bad.
Yeah, she gets under my skin quite a bit.
Filthy hypocrite.
I mean, I can't say I love the Lady in the Mist either, but I definitely am nowhere near your level of hatred.
I hate that woman so much.
Oh man, yeah, she's something else. And then Chris says Eldred was just doing his job. He wasn't malicious, and that's true too with him. Like, I don't know if you call him a bad guy really, but I think I hate him just because he's like capable and he's kind of against my boy Cuthbert. Like it. But true though. Now that I think about it, he isn't really bad though. Like he's working for the side that's bringing democracy.
I know, that's the weird thing about it is it's like, yeah, that's the weirdest thing about the Dark Tower there is it's like, yeah, let's bring down this like monarchy.
Yeah, like definitely more, I think it's more monarch based.
Like the lead gunsinger's like the king, right?
Yeah, that's kind of,
there's like the knights that are under him. So this monarchy is going to get taken down by the guys that are doing heinous acts. So it's like, yeah, let's make the revolutionaries, slaughter people. Yeah, that's good. Wait a minute.
Isn't that quintessential king though?
Yeah, right.
Like he's not just going to give it to, like he's not going to just paint it so black and white that it's just easy or bland.
No.
Like he's going to challenge you a bit as a reader and make you just like, okay, well, cool, we're going to make you fall in love with this side, but then midway through I'm going to fucking change the whole game on you and make you realize that like
I'm going to have him murder a child. Something like that. It's just like, God, dude.
Or flipping the whole paradigm of what,
Yeah, what's good, what's bad.
like what Gilead stands for, right? Like you're a ways into it before you realize like, oh shit, like, yeah, that's awkward. Yeah.
That's an interesting question. Why didn't democracy take hold?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
we have the Battle of Jericho Hill where it's like savages going after the remaining gunslingers. So it's like, did something happen? Like, where's Farson at the end?
Yeah.
And I think that would be something that would be awesome if King goes and explores that with a new book. The 8th book is what happened.
Or 9th book.
9th book, that's right, yeah. What would happen with, like, the democracy that was supposed to happen? I mean, everything that we see about Roland's world is just a complete, utter wasteland until you get to the Kala. Then it's like, oh, there's just these farming communities that have no ties to any type of government whatsoever.
So do you think it has anything to do with like Farson and the democracy that caused the world to move on, or is the world moving on and so therefore that revolution is kind of, it's a dead end revolution almost, right? Because so I guess like is the destruction that we see in his world inherent to the system that overthrows Roland's system, or is the whole world basically at the cliff's edge anyway, and democracy's just catching a hold right as the fucking cliff happens?
Yeah,
you know what
grab
I mean?
the back of the sleigh as it goes tipping over the mountainside.
Yeah, exactly.
How the Grinch Stole Christmas pops into my head. He's going to grab it. It just pulls him over with it.
Yeah. Like,
so no, this is a very interesting conversation. I want to save this. I want to table this for now because I want to come back to this. This actually just occurred to me. Like, where the fuck did that democracy that Farson was promising go? Yeah, I want to come back to this. And if you have anything that you want to add to that conversation, email us.
Yeah, Jack says, here's a thought. If John Farson, and parentheses says flag, had never taken down Gilead, would Roland still go in search of the tower?
Yes. He says that in book 4. There's no question of Gilead falling or anything like that. He says that as soon as I get back to Gilead, I have to gather my strength and I have to go find the tower.
Yeah, and ultimately that's why he's also not going back for Susan, right? Because once he looks into I almost said the Palantir, the Wizard's Glass. Once he looks into that, I think his whole life has changed. I think that's kind of the road to Damascus moment for him, where like the whole thing transformed, and like I think like he even mentions along the lines of like, there's a secret that our fathers have, and now I know it type thing, that like the whole idea of the gunslingers is built around the tower, but that's not something that's given to anyone outside of the company of gunslingers. But Roland kind of comes about that. So I feel like in a lot of ways, I don't think anything matters once he is out of that Wizard's Glass. I think at that point it's just the tower for him. So that'd be my answer. But I don't know.
I really do. I actually have been taking notes this episode on things that I want to revisit and discuss with you, maybe not even on the air. Coordinating.
Oh, we'll have to do it on the air.
No. Coordinating stuff like Eye of the Dragon, like when we're going to read it.
Okay.
Also, movie commentaries, how we want to set that up. This one I want to put on here and add it. Conversation on what happened to Farson's democracy.
So, Chris, the Farson, the whole Farson thing, that's a debatable one. That's definitely a huge one that gets debated a lot. My belief is that Farson is Flag, but I believe the comic books portray them as completely different. But I believe in the novels, I think it's clear in the novels that they're the same person. I always go back to there's the forewords from Stephen King where he gives the name Farson in the Flag Pantheon when he's talking about Flag. He says sometimes Farson is one of the names he gives. Then also there's the line in book 6 or 7 where the dudes surround Roland, or go up against Roland, and he's like, oh yeah, like I know you, like I can still recognize you. Your mom sucked John Farson's dick type thing, like basically is what before Roland takes him out. And so to me it's like, okay, well he just she was with Flag, not Farson. So
Farson was in the West at that point.
Yeah.
So where was Farson? Was he ever in Gilead, or was he just a bandit that started getting followers in the West? So there's really not any explanation to that. But the way that King writes it, like Tad said, the two big indications is the foreword that says sometimes known as Farson when he's talking about Flag, and then the character in book 7 that yells at Roland that, hey, your mom sucked John Farson.
Because I remember we were doing the show and I hit that line on one of my rereads. I was just like, holy shit, this proves it in the text.
Yeah.
Because like you could say that the forwards don't really count, quote unquote, as canon. I would argue the same thing with the comic books. I know the comics establish them as different characters to the point where I think they even interact. But I would say those aren't as top level canon as like the books themselves. And so when I hit that, I was just like, holy shit, goldmine. Like this is, for me, will forever be the proof in my mind that they're the same. Because I always felt they were the same, even though I feel that he might use both, like Palpatine and Sidious. Like I think he could use both faces, and he may even have a look for John Farson. But I think that at the root of it, it's all Flag. Like I feel like I've always liked that idea of him being like a shapeshifter. And yeah, that's
wouldn't even put it past him that he would be able to show Farson and Flag in the same room, just create an illusion, which he has been able to do before.
Yeah.
I mean, the picture that you have up on the screen, he shows Roland many, many wonders there.
Yeah.
That were basically probably hallucinations. I mean, we don't know for sure, but
yeah,
there's no way that Roland was sent into the cosmic void by a man with a tarot deck without something happening, right?
Yeah.
So
yeah. And then let's see. Let me just see what else I missed here. Ryan says a Star Wars character that I really hate is Barriss Offee. She framed Ahsoka in the Clone Wars. I hate her as much as Rhea.
I really need to rewatch Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I watched it that one time and that's it.
Yeah, that's one of my big ones because I actually have already, because like I was going on it with Netflix and I was doing the StarWars.com has the list that you can watch it chronologically. So I was doing that. I was bouncing around Netflix stuff, but then I knew they were just about to lose it. So I'm like, whatever. I jumped to the very end and watched the Yoda thing in season 6. And then I was like, I'll wait till Disney Plus for the rest. And I have actually already watched a couple episodes, just jumped back right in where I was at.
Nice.
It's like season whatever, like maybe around season 3-ish level. But yeah, I definitely know the whole story there. Chris OG Chris says, but Varson and Flag are different beings, and I think, like I said, we just went over. I think that I believe they're the same. But I could see why people believe the other way. That's just not my beliefs with that. And then Jack says there's a dispute on whether they're the same person or different. I think Tad and Peter discussed it. Yeah, I believe we have before, but I don't know how long ago that was.
Yeah.
And then Chris says, yeah, Jack, it's unclear. I think it's initially they were separate characters, but King then decided to combine them. But in typical King style, he left it intentionally ambiguous, which to me I actually like, especially for someone like Flag. I think it's just perfect that he's kind of, I don't know, nebulous. I think that's a great thing for a character like him. But I'm just going to throw it out there. I hope a whole episode of The Stand is all just Flag. Now, imagine, how would you portray that opening for Flag? Do you think you could do a montage or something? Like the whole thing where it's like he's got a bunch of different pamphlets in his pocket of contradictory propaganda, and it just like talks about, like, you know, he'll be at a riot and he'll be the one that whispers in someone's ear that starts the riot. Like, just that whole thing to like almost build him up to where it's just
you're talking The Stand?
Yeah.
I would do it as, you know, the guy that's waiting to give him the car. Make it two people and just have one telling the other one about him.
Okay.
It's a really good way to do it, is like, you know, split that guy into two, and then maybe you have it where Flag, you know, shows his stripes when he gets there and kills one of them. Or the other one's died from the flu by the time he gets there and everything. But they're just talking like, why are we waiting here again? Dude, you don't want to mess with this guy. What are you talking about? And they just have like the montage of him walking while the guy's talking about him and everything. Don't have him like pulling pamphlets out of his pockets and making it too obvious. But like, I would really do like audio versus like visual. Literally just have Flag walking down the highway, not see his face or anything like that. And then at the last, like what'd you say his name was again? Randy Flag. And he turns around and just like smiles at the camera. Yeah. And that would be scene.
Because I love that whole portion of the book. I really do. It's good setup for my boy. Definitely. And I'm kind of craving The Stand, but I'm going to hold off and let it get back. Because
especially if we're going to be doing a friggin' marathon watching the miniseries. Don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
Don't read anything. Don't do it.
But see, the problem is that I threw my schedule off, and I've had a hard time getting back on schedule. And
so hold off and read it this year.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking is like 2020, I'll get back into it because I'm craving it now, but I'm like, I'm going to hold off so I can get back into, because it's always early summer, about when the book starts. That's always when I start to crave it. So I'm like, I'm going to hold off my craving now, because if I read it now, there's no chance in June I'm going to be ready for it already. So, Chris says from Australia, says kind of like the show becoming a 3-hour show instead of 2-hour show. I think it really comes down to just content.
It just morphed into that
over
the last few months.
Yeah. I don't mind. It really just comes down to content, though, and what we got to talk about. But I don't mind. I mean, what is Palaver but long, drawn-out talking, right?
Yeah.
And what's the intro say? This is going to take a while.
This is going to take a while.
To be honest, I have a really hard time with any podcasts that are super short. I've told you my whole thing with audiobooks. Like, if it doesn't have double digits for hours, I'm not even interested. Like, don't come at me with a 5-hour book. Like, I'm not interested. That's not worth the credit for me.
Right.
With podcasts, for me, if it's like less than an hour, I have a real hard time diving in.
When I was first getting into podcasts, I found one that was like, it was a World War II podcast. Our grandfathers fought in World War II in 2 different theaters, Africa and Europe. We're going to basically be telling stories and going over that, and it's okay, thanks, that's our first episode. It was like seriously like 22 minutes long. I'm like, nope.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not even worth my time. Like 22 minutes, like, get out of here.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if me and you sat down and recorded a 22-minute podcast?
There's been times the intro to
I know, right? We got distracted and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and it's different for everyone. I know some people like the shorter ones, but for me, I don't. So I definitely, when I went, dove into like, hey, I want to do a podcast and brought you aboard, it was like, it's got to be long.
At least
it's got to be
an hour and a
It's
half.
got to be long form.
Yeah, we talked about it. At least an hour and a half. We got to make it to where people can enjoy it, sit down, listen.
Yeah.
Have it while they're driving. Make sure that it's going to last at least a commute. I mean, we know some people that, like here in the Salt Lake Valley, there's 45-minute commutes, hour commutes, and stuff like that, depending on the time of day.
People in LA are going.
The people in LA are just like, God, you bastards.
Yeah.
But, we always wanted to be one of those ones that's out there for that entertainment. And seriously, like Tad said, content. it's interesting because we really haven't got a ton from the mini the Amazon series, but it's just like other things also, just especially when we open that door into the wider King universe. That definitely Doctor Sleep, the It's, we have a schedule now of what's coming out and what's being made and everything. So definitely.
I think we'll have to cover that democracy topic next time.
Like I said, I wrote it down I wrote it down. I have 3 things written down.
So next time we have the checklist. I did want to hit some emails because I don't know.
Every episode.
Yeah, I mean for sure. There was some part of me that was like, man, it'd be cool to clear out the mailbag before the end of the year. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
That's not gonna
I think people keep emailing in as well, which is fine.
Fill it up.
Yeah, keep going. But they're like, it was a fool's errand to think that we could ever empty the mailbag.
A fool's goal.
Yeah. But so next time we'll cover our checklist, and we'll do that conversation. 'Cause I think that would be
going to be fun,
an interesting conversation to have for sure.
Yeah.
So, it looks like maybe nobody else is calling in. So, like I said, we'll.
That's good because my phone's gonna die.
I was gonna say at the same time we'll wrap this, but at the same time I don't know that's a huge thing because we definitely are not waiting 3 years for the next one. I think I think honestly it'd be good to first part of the year and part of the year. Let's do 2 halves of the year. Do a live one in both halves and. I think like it's interesting to me because as I was thinking about it recently with the shows we've got, we basically do 2 a month. So, that gives us 24 episodes a year. So it's like when we talk about
a little bit more than that, actually, for my work, I started looking at like schedules. So if you do semi-monthly, it's 24 a year. But if you do bi-weekly,
it's like paychecks, right? Sometimes you get the 2 extra checks type
like
thing.
January is 3 checks. For some people.
It's the same. Yeah, so since we're doing it every 2 weeks, there's a possibility that we'd end up with those.
There is a little bit more that but we also do take a couple weeks off at the end of the year every year. So
yeah, that's true. So the only thing I was thinking though is it's like, man, we got to be careful with like we'll do a couple of these episodes or whatever because like we really don't have that many episodes to work with. But no, not that but I think those are all good ideas. Hopefully. Gan willing, we will have a series to talk about next year as well. But we'll do The Shining, we'll do The Stand, and we got a lot of fun things to talk about. Hopefully for 2020. So this isn't the close of the year, but definitely we'll do some live shows, and maybe we can even work those in a way to where like. Have like a full-on episode with like news and everything else, but have calls be part of it to where people can kind of join us and tangent us away or talk about the topics we're talking about while we're doing it. I think all that would be really fun.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Let's go ahead and wrap it. Then we'll hit the outro and we'll come back for next couple weeks from now, or as Chris said, a fortnight, which I actually just used that myself on social media because a few days ago I was like, in a fortnight I will be watching Star Wars.
You did. I saw that.
Yeah. I just love the word fortnight. I always have, and I think it should come back into regular usage. So
just the game. It's just
I don't care. Screw the game, man. It's all about the awesome. Why do we have awesome words like that? Why don't we just let them go? Like I'm not about that. So yes. So we'll go ahead and tell you some of the closing notes. If you want to subscribe to us, you can do it on Apple Podcasting or you can stream us on Stitcher. You can find the show notes, darktowerpalaver.com. I will have my movie collection all pictured up and posted for this episode, as well as the couple things that we covered, as well as if you can rate and review us on Apple Podcasting, we would definitely appreciate that. And if you want to engage with us, there's a number of ways to do that. Peter can tell you about those.
Best way, like we brought it up already several times, is email us, darktowerpalaver@gmail.com. Come on, guys, fill up the bag. We love it. We love those emails. We're on Facebook. It's facebook.com/darktowerpalaver. And also the Twitter, it's @darktowerpod. We stream all of our shows. It's youtube.com/darktowerpalaver. Don't forget to subscribe and hit and like the episodes, and then also ring the bell to get notifications from us.
Indeed. And Chris, OG Chris said, give us the oi at the end. Always like to hear that subtle oi, which is something I always drop in for the edit. And I will definitely do that. And then Chris from Australia said the oi is essential, and it brought something to me. Essential oils is something I hear about. Do they have a logo?
Yeah.
Because if they do, essential oi in the style of essential oils would be a great t-shirt. That's all I'm saying.
Let me see what their logo looks like.
You know, essential oi, and then maybe have a little raccoon tail or something.
Oh, it doesn't. Yeah, so it's perfect set for
a raccoon tail.
There is, yeah. It's like two leaves, like making up like a closed flower.
Yeah,
green on the left, yellow on the right. Yeah, that would definitely.
That'd be a killer.
You make the yellow, which is the face of a human, kind of there in the outline. You make that him, and then his tail going into the green one.
Yeah, I think that's definitely an idea for a shirt. Essential oi, in the style of essential oils.
All
right. All right. So thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you next time. And as we always say to close out the show, long days and pleasant nights.
Long days and pleasant nights, folks.
And the recording is stopped. So thank you guys in the chat that joined us, and for everyone that called in. Definitely appreciate having you guys. It's always a lot of fun. Yeah, just awesome. Thank you guys for all the kind words, and definitely want to give them back to you guys because, again, you guys make this awesome. Love kind of have the regular crew that seems to be here for all the shows. Definitely appreciate you guys in the live chat, and for the people that aren't, the emails and everything we definitely appreciate. Makes it a lot of fun. I think like I've always been under the impression of like I don't care like how many people listen. It's just a matter of like having fun, and that still is my disposition. But having that extra element of like the interaction with you guys makes it a lot of fun and magical. So thank you guys, and we will see you guys in a couple weeks, in a fortnight.